What is up, Legionnaires? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. Tonight is a very special night. This is Out Weeks in the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics, TV shows, and movies, and it is a doozy from a giant stack of comics, but an even bigger movie release with Godzilla -1. We have a very special panel joining the show tonight to break it down and talk about it, and just kind of live in the fandom of how awesome this experience was. Don't go anywhere. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Let's go. Paul, you ready to do this, man?
Oh, it is all Godzilla all morning till 9.
It really is. And just when we thought there couldn't be more Godzilla, poor Paul had to watch a brand new trailer release today. And we'll be talking the brand new Godzilla X Kong New Empire trailer as well. But let's go ahead and do some announcements real quick, give some love and some shout outs. First off, big shout out to the channel sponsor, Big Time Collectibles. Be sure to check out their website. Follow them on social media. You can catch them on Whatnot Monday through Friday. Fantastic shopping. We'll also be doing the Legion Loot giveaway tonight that is sponsored by Big Time Collectibles as well as myself. Also, if you need anything cleaned or pressed, be sure to check the description down below for this guy right here.
It's me.
Justin's Comics. Hit that description. Let him know you found him via this channel that he is on right now, as he is joining us to talk some Godzilla tonight as well. Justin, how you doing? How the heck are you?
Man, I'm happy to be here, especially after seeing that -1 video. That movie, man. I just can't wait to see what you guys think about it. That was such a good movie. Yeah.
Well, I know it's football season, so I'm extra happy to have you here.
Yes.
Because I know you have your traditions, your family traditions that tie you up a lot during football season. Can't be mad at it.
Yeah, it's been a rough season, but you know what? I'm here, and we're gonna make it work.
Well, let's do it. But we're not going to do it by ourselves. We're also going to go and bring in, it's Godzilla season, so we have our very special co-hostess with the mostest, none other than Collecting with Durs.
The king, baby. Shout out to football. My team got decimated tonight, bro. Philly gang, not in the house. So,
because I feel completely outnumbered by people who know about sports ball, I had to call an audible and bring in the other mega fan of Godzilla, one of my favorite people to chat in the community with, and we don't get to spend enough time together. So he is here tonight to balance the scales. We have none other than J-Man himself. What is up, brother?
Hey, thanks for having me on. Football, that's where they run around kicking the ball into the net, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
sports ball.
In everywhere but the United States.
Because just the way that these shows go, like most people catch the front end of them, and we have some special guests here tonight. Like everyone knows me and Paul on this show. Most of y'all know Durs, but if y'all don't, I'd love to go ahead and go around the horn and let people introduce themselves and tell the viewers where they can find them and what they do, so they actually have a better chance of actually reaching the viewers who watch the show. You want to kick that off, J-Man?
Sure. I do movie reviews, comic book reviews. It's at JMan77 on YouTube. I do, lots of stuff. So it's all nerd stuff. My streams are mostly right now, they're Legion of Superheroes on Mondays. Fridays is right now Fourth World, so Jack Kirby, but that's wrapping up in a couple of weeks. And then we're going to do Frank Miller's Daredevil run. And then we're doing Transformers on Thursdays when I'm able to do it. I saw -1 on Thursday, so I didn't do it last week. But this Thursday, we're going to talk about all 3 issues of the new series by Skybound. So because issue 3 will be out this week, I'm sure everyone will be getting that. So we'll talk about that on Thursdays. So those are the 3 streams I do. The rest is just comic reviews and movie reviews.
And you can also find him by the same handle, J-Man, over on Instagram, where he puts up like short snippet stuff that he does on YouTube over there as well as like the day of comic reviews and everything. He's a blast to follow. He has one of the best review systems that I've ever seen for consistency's sake and just enjoyment factor. It's really fun. Fast. I could use his review system to review his reviews, and it would get a 10 out of 10. The space system. Jersey boy,
2 out of 10. So great.
What's up, me? I'm just going to start off with saying thank you for having me here, and big congratulations on winning last night, that community builder. I look up to you as like a peer and somebody I respect, so you definitely deserve that. So thank you for having me here. But Monday mail hauls, I got a whole bunch of Joker books from Nick, the comic nerd. You got Wednesdays are always random, but this Wednesday I went to GalaxyCon yesterday, so stay on the lookout for that. Friday Positivities and shout outs every Friday. I've been doing that for about 60 weeks now, every single week. Mental Health Matters. And then Sunday Night Sesh every Sunday at 6 p.m. or 3 p.m. unless the Eagles get blown out. So,
Cool.
all the legends.
And they've been rocking with the channel since day one. Mr. Justin's Comics over there.
I know, man. That's kind of crazy. I think, was I on your first or your second ever live stream? I can't remember.
It was way down there in the single digits for sure.
Definitely. No, it's I'm only going to say I'm happy to be here. I clean and press books. That's really my gist. I got into YouTube a little bit, but just decided it wasn't really for me. So I just jump into live streams here and there. But if you ever need anything clean or pressed, I'm happy to help. I don't do it for the money. I just do it to help out the community because that's just what it's about for me. So.
But he will accept your money. And you can hit the link down in the description below to get straight to his IG to get in contact with him and all that good stuff. Yeah. Everybody, y'all know Paul, Sector 2815 on YouTube, partner in crime. You can find me and Paul tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. We're back at it for the DC Deep Dive, diving into Beast World. Beast World? Is that what it is? Beast World?
Titans Beast World.
And then this Wednesday is, in fact, another show-stopping episode of Guess That Key at 9:30 real time. Who's the co-host this week?
We have Chris the Comic Vet, and we have Mr. Beckerman.
Nice.
Taylor Winder was supposed to be on, but he had to reschedule. We're going to have him on the beginning of next year instead. So
who is it?
Taylor Winder was supposed to be on, but we had to move him to, at his request, we had to move him to the beginning of next year. So
that makes sense. Now, do you want to do the Christmas show shout out? Let's go ahead and start putting that out in the air.
Absolutely. And then 2 weeks from Wednesday, which is the 20th, we have our huge second annual Guess That Key Christmas special. There will be at least 4 drawings for gifts, bigger and better than we do in just our regular shows too. So come on out. Anyone is welcome. Obviously, all you got to do is just be in the live chat and be subscribed to my channel to be eligible to win. So hope to see lots of people there so we can spread some Christmas cheer.
And if anyone's seen the Christmas shows before, y'all know these are extra special episodes, and
it should be an OG episode as well too.
Yeah, I didn't want to throw it out there, but we should have Jake and Jesus back for that one, which I'm excited for. Like y'all know, it's an absolute, and possibly Kevin. That's getting even better. I know it's close to the Christmas time for a lot of people, so people get busy, but also people need those evenings to recoup from the Christmas days, and that is, of course, days with a Z. They get a little busy. So I made it to the bottom of the chat, just highlighting everybody. It would take a long time to get through all of them, and a lot of people here on the panel have limited time. So I do want to say a big shout out to Taylor Winder. He's rejoined his membership. It is the first of the month, so I appreciate that, T-Dubs. And had a couple of milestone comments come in as well. Let me hit those. 21 months rocking strong. House of L Comics. Hope everyone is doing great. Absolutely, brother. Doing super duper great. And there was one more down here. Let's see. Boom. 5 months straight. What up, y'all? What is going on? The Adventurous Joe is in the building. Hope you're doing good tonight as well. Appreciate each and every one of you for popping in the chat. And yeah, so let's just dive right into it. I honestly think it would be a great opportunity to start this and take advantage of J-Man while he's here, because it is pretty quick, fast, and it really just sets the tone. Do you want a space system this movie for?
Sure.
You've already done it, but I think it'd be awesome for people to see how you do that, and it's also a great way to get it rolling.
All right, so SPACE stands for story, pacing, artistry, characters, enjoyment. Each category gets a score between 0 and 2. So 2 is the best you can get in every category. And the way it works is, like, if you thought it was garbage, it's 0 out of 2. If you thought the story was okay, it's a 1. If you thought it was amazing, it's a 2. And then you could do 0.5s here and there if you need to. When you add them all up, you get a score out of 10. So story is obvious, pacing is obvious, artistry includes music, look, costumes, effects if applicable, whatever. And then characters is obvious. Did you hate the villains? Were they good villains? Were they great characters? Did you enjoy them? Whatever. And the enjoyment factor is intangible, because you might say a movie has a so-so story, but you kind of really liked it. So it gives you the opportunity to add a point here or there. The way I look at it is that, would I say, yes, I liked it? That's a 0.5. Would I say recommend it to a friend? That's a 0.5. Would I watch it again? That's a 0.5. Would I own it for my collection at home? That's another 0.5. That gives you 2 out of 2. So that kind of thing. It's easy for this movie. I gave it a 10. I'm not scared of giving 10s if it's warranted. I can't think of anything to make this movie any better without being like impossibly nitpicky. Like, could there have been 10 more minutes of Godzilla? Could there have been, like, it's like things like that. It's like, well, sure, I could watch just Godzilla walking around for 2 hours, but like, is that going to be a cohesive movie?
Watch him sitting at a bus stop.
Right, I mean, yeah. So, is that going to be something that a general member of the audience is going to enjoy? For me, this movie, I also hate saying were the characters the best characters in any Godzilla movie. I hate saying that because there's been so many films, but wow, I've never been so emotionally invested in characters. And I've actually, like, I went up and down a lot. Like, I was like, wow, this is really sad. I guess we're in spoilers. Mm-hmm. I mean, whatever. When the girl gets nailed, I was like, are you effing kidding me? I'm like, no way, this can't happen. And I literally, like, I was like, whoa, this didn't happen. And I was like, what the heck? This is hardcore. And I was like, oh shit. And then, the guy's like lost it all. And he's like, and I know, what he's going to do. He's like, he's going to kamikaze into Godzilla. Like, this is, anybody who understands how movies work, you understand what's going to happen. For them to give that little bit of an extra, and I knew that guy was going to be like, you know what, there's going to be an ejector scene, mm-hmm. right? But then to have her be alive at the end, you're like, oh, wow. And to have it that Godzilla can still return, this movie somehow took every element that you've ever wanted out of a Godzilla movie, put it in there. And I do want to say, like, this is 70 years or close to 70 years now of Godzilla. If you average out the movies live action, there's like 2.35 movies a movie every 2.35 years or something like that. If you kind of average it out, so there's a lot of films, 30 live action films of the Japanese version. I'm not getting the Godzilla fatigue. I'm not getting it's the same old shit over again. Godzilla has been this stupid thing for 70 years. It has never been. Yeah, I saw the G1. Yeah. Mine didn't come in on time. I'm very upset. It's like it has been the same monster forever, and yet every movie seems to somehow reinvent this character, make it seem fresh yet again. Shin Godzilla did the same thing, completely different. This movie showed stuff I've never seen. We saw him mutate. Mm-hmm. We saw the way the charge works. We saw him heal when his face blew up. I was like, oh god damn! And I'm looking at my watch and be like, this is like the first 40 minutes. What the hell's going on? And I'm like, oh, you're kidding me. They're showing the way that I'm like, oh, how are they going to like that's it. And then you're like, this is a period movie. Mm-hmm. I don't know who, and the panel can let me know. I did not know this is a period movie. So I'm sitting there watching it and it's like 1945. Like, okay, so I get it. Okay. The bombs have dropped. All right. And then it's like 1946. So I was like, okay, 1947. I'm like, well, I'm like, this is the longest, like, I'm like, is this whole movie? And then I'm like, how are they going to beat this guy? And they didn't have the army. They didn't have the military army comes in and does no damage, which is great. I love seeing it, to be honest. I love seeing the army come in and do no damage. But you're like, it was such a personal story with not just Japan. Like the first film, 54, was a personal story for Japan as a country. This was a personal story for that character and his like kind of family, which is a real family, I suppose, or as real as you can get. I don't know. I couldn't believe it. I knew I was going to really like it because I'm a bit of a mark, right? Like if it's Godzilla, there's like it's going to get an 8 out of 10.
Not only did they not have the army, but they also did a pretty good job, I think, of almost indicting the army as it was before World War II, because it was an indictment of the whole Japanese culture and how little the Japanese culture felt towards human life. It was, they all of their equipment was breaking down. They had no supply lines. They had no ejector seats. They had kamikaze pilots. All of that led into the fact that it basically did not value human life. It was a huge departure from what's come before, but a welcome departure, I think.
And Paul, while you're on it real quick, Paul has the ring rating system. Go ahead. How many rings do you give this one?
Oh, if I had 11 fingers, I would give it 11, but I can only do 10. One of the reasons why I really love this movie is because although it was a Godzilla movie and like the special effects were incredible and Godzilla looked amazing and the action and every time another one of his scales turned blue, it was like, oh man, it's coming, right? But it was more to me, it was a redemption story for this Japanese person, right? For the I
Yes.
can't Shimashuri, I think I can't. I'm not going to pronounce his name right, but
Yeah, Koichi.
it was a redemption story for him. And to put that in a Godzilla movie and have the Godzilla and that story be equally important was just a It was just a masterful thing to do.
And both worked.
Right.
It wasn't a sappy story. I can just see this in the hands of the D word, the Disney. They would have sapped this up, made it really goofy and cheesy, and you'd be like, oh, okay, what else can happen? Like, it was all very realistically handled, and it made me invest like more in the character. When he's there and they're having their little dinner, and he's like, oh, I'm not her father. I was like, oh no! I was like, what, dude? What the heck? And that little, I don't know what they did to this little actress.
You mean when they poke her with a pin off screen to make?
I don't know. I've never seen. I don't have any children. Anybody on the panel, Mark? I've never seen someone cry like so painfully. Like, I'm like, oh my god, this is so. And I don't care. I'll tell you, I don't care about anything in movies.
They're probably just behind
animals getting killed,
cat or something. Just
yeah, I don't know. It takes a lot to move me for kids or animals. I don't care. Like, oh, kids, like, oh, well, I guess the kid got killed. What you gotta do? Like, this girl really got me. I don't know. She was like I was like, who's this?
Well, you get to struggle with her, like you pointed out. There's 3 time eras, so you actually get to struggle with this kid, knowing that she has no parents, knowing that she's attaching to something, and knowing that nothing is attaching to her. You see the fragility of the entire world that this kid's living in, and you don't even have to attach yourself to the child. You're attaching those qualities to everything you're looking at on the screen. So when you see something as fragile as a child, whether you have them or not, you realize like that's like your canary in the coal mine. You know, something's breaking in this broken world, and it's just uncomfortable. But Justin, what do you put it at? What were your initial thoughts? What's your ranking on this one?
Man, I only thing I would do, I'd probably put 9.9, and I feel like they kind of should have killed her before. I guess you'd say just as that fallout hit, you know, I'd describe it like a nuclear blast, of course. And once that, you know, that shockwave hit, unless she has some type of superpowers or some type of mutation at the very end, that's my only tiny little drawback, because it added just so much more of an emotional element to him losing her. Mm-hmm. So even though, you know, it's not wife, it's not mom, it definitely would have been mom and wife if, you know, she had stayed alive. But overall, I mean, I can't say one thing negative about the movie. I just would have liked to seen her actually not be alive at the end. But other than that, yeah, definitely, you know.
Real quick, big shout out to Pops Attic dropping the 26-month member badge right there. Legion Loot is fire. And just as a reminder to the 20 people watching, the Legion Loot giveaway is tonight. We'll spin the wheel to see who the channel member going home with that is going to be. My Jersey boy, I know you've been chomping at the bit.
So if I had a rating scale, I think my rating scale would be like squirting emojis. So I think I would give it like probably like a 9.5 buckets out of 10. And the only thing, like I said, J-Man said, if he could be really nitpicky, and I'm not, I don't want to be nitpicky. I just wish that we got through the little bit just like 10 minutes quicker. I wanted Godzilla maybe a little like 5 or 10 minutes quicker. Like Mark said, just to have more of him on screen. But I really loved seeing how the nuke goes off and you see them rebuilding, living in that environment, living in all those rundown houses, because I'm real big on like history and stuff like that. And that's shows how it really, really was, and everything post, you know, the nuclear bomb, Hiroshima, and everything like that. And then always that constant kind of endangerment, trying to fight for your life, that survival aspect without even Godzilla being around. You know, you see him in the beginning. He has that quick little thing with the people on the island where they all get murked. And
it's a horror movie,
right? And how J-Man and Legion and Paul said, always the evolution of Godzilla, how he looked, and even in that first little beginning part, he looked different than he did in that movie and other parts, like History of Godzilla or whatever. It almost looked like a very young Godzilla, like he was still smaller, he wasn't huge or anything like that, but basically it showed that survival, that he always knew Godzilla was out there, but he was just trying to survive, get food, get shelter over his head while knowing that. So I really liked that human interaction. And then how you have a music scale, man, the whole time I love that classic, that bum 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 boom, or whatever that Godzilla, that beat when he pops that's such a mood setter and everything. And then when he's in the water, I loved how his facial was done, his facial structure and everything. Very detailed, very clean and everything. How you mentioned the when he gets blown up with the stuff, whatever he was regenerating was awesome. But sorry, train of thought totally gone. But speaking on the visual effects, I don't know about you guys, but that was hands down the craziest laser breath we've ever seen. And like right before he shoots it off, how he like cocks his head back, that quick snap when he sucks everything in, that was so nicely done with the spines coming out. It was just perfect. I think that was masterful in filmmaking when it comes to that laser breath.
Yeah.
Hey, do you guys feel that he was a bit more targeted? It almost feels like at some point, like it was like he was a bit more aware of things, right? It's like they pissed, like he kind of got pissed, and then he's like, okay, I'm pissed now. Like it wasn't as much as like a tornado that just whips through and you're like, whatever. Like he kind of, it felt like he had a bit more, I don't want to say personality, but he had a little bit more like
that first
cognitive ability.
Yes, that's a great word. It's like, and even in the beginning when he's targeting guys, like, well, what are you doing? Oh, okay.
I kind of assumed that he lost some of it with his size based off how we saw him in that opening scene versus later. Yeah. But for me, like as always, the only thing more accurate than a bucket of water system is a color scale system. And like pretty much what you've heard them say, I could just add on top of that. Like some of just the craftiness of the writing to this movie, the little details that go a long, long way in this, which I'm sure will unpack some of that. But like the uniqueness of the changes that they made, because with Godzilla, it's always recognizable. It's always the same. But any Godzilla fan goes into any of these things waiting for those slight changes that mean the world to Godzilla fans, i.e. the spikes actually lifting off of his back when he's charging, dropping in like the trigger on a gun going off, his atomic breath being renamed a heat ray because of the era that we're in. This is the oldest chronological Godzilla movie that exists now. It went from 1954 back now to 1944 through 7. And back then, there's no understanding of atomic from these people.
Right.
Which is heat ray. I'm like, how freaking smart is
Bloody
that?
Awesome. I know. Yeah.
So this movie was completely solid green, and not even just the positive aspects to it, but the turn of the actual genre that it's in. Because Godzilla is a classic monster kaiju franchise. Even Legendary Pictures, what they're doing there, they've teetered with different, like weighing the scales on how much they're going to take it to like dramatize it or just monster action flick it. And they kind of give us a little bit of both now that we have a lot. But with the Toho stuff, it's pretty much been monster kaiju stuff from day one with few exceptions. But this one didn't just turn the kaiju brand on its head. It completely left it. This is not a kaiju monster film anymore. This is literally a period piece set in World War II, a classic war epic where the antagonist isn't the opposing army, it's this force of nature creature that was discovered. Nothing is different from this than any other period piece war movie you see, other than the way the opposing army looked. It was absolutely insane, completely caught me off guard. The character depth just drove this movie. Every moment that Godzilla wasn't on screen, I was still sitting on bated breath, watching every word that was being said, looking close at each one of these characters, wanting to know more about them. Like when you just want to know so much, you're studying their outfit, you're looking at Doctor's hairstyle, and like you're catching all the little smart little design qualities to the set and dress and everything that brings the characters out, because you just genuinely want to know more. It was such a treat. Even my wife, my 3-year-old went, my 6-year-old went, Pops went, everyone there had an amazing time. And I'll tell you, like, none of us were ready for the emotional ride that this was. It was just a good time.
People were crying in the theater. They were I didn't cry full, but I was a little bit there, but there was a lot of sniffing.
I didn't expect her to be alive whatsoever at the end.
It got me.
And then we see,
and with the kids things like that there's so many different levels, and that's what I mean by like how crafty this was, because there's so many it's almost like it's a sleight of hand move by the writer and the directing. Like at the end when the nanny receives a letter when he takes off on what we're meant to assume is a kamikaze mission. We know we're supposed to assume that, so we're now thinking he has an ejector seat. But then we see the mechanic who's mad at him, tell him, now you're ready, assuming he's talking about like go fulfill your original purpose.
So when
But
she got
how cool was that it was the mechanic from the original island who knew that he was a kamikaze pilot and didn't do it, put the ejector seat into the new plane.
Beautiful.
That's what I'm saying. That's the craftiness of the curve, because you assume with this guy who knew he was mad that he didn't fulfill his duty as a kamikaze pilot. You know he's mad for not pulling the trigger. You know he's mad because he doesn't look at Koichi as a man. But yet, like at the end, they give you the swerve with that character, like he does value life though, because he's living in this world too.
As soon as he told him he had the other,
the double levers, like he tells him pull this red lever before you hit, and everyone's like, that's the ejector seat. Of course. And he pulls it and he doesn't eject. I'm for sure you get that split second. You're like, wait, what? Right. And then you see the second lever that they didn't show us yet. I'm like,
what a beautiful plan of ingenuity and craftsmanship to take down Godzilla, not having the army, and to have the doctor be like, okay, we have this trench, let's be smart, sink him real quick, and then if that doesn't work, decompress him, and then send him back.
That's genius.
Great plan, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
This is a great question, because real quick, let's talk on this opening scene real quick. Man, it was insane. Like the movie opens up to a kamikaze pilot having landed on this island. It's a repair base for kamikaze pilots. He just reported engine trouble with his plane, or problems with his plane, and he couldn't fulfill his kamikaze mission. And he went and landed. Mechanics are checking over his plane, can't find anything wrong with it while they're camping out. Probably like a 20-foot tall Godzilla shows up. The most ferocious bastard I've seen Godzilla ever be. He was like a rabid wolf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Agile.
And the thing was there were 4 different ways that his tail did the damage, his feet did the damage. How cool was it when he would grab onto these people and throw them across the island? Awesome. I mean, that was just amazing.
He wasn't eating anybody; he was just sending them.
Yeah,
exactly.
Airmail.
Yep, airmail.
Well, and I wanted to mention too about the title, because it all made sense in the movie, where because Japan at that point was at 0, and now with the appearance of Godzilla, they're at -1, which is just so brilliant. Like, because when they first said Godzilla -1, everyone's like, what is going on here?
T-1.
T-1, but it's more like Japan. It's Japan's state, right? It's like they're at 0 at this point. Everything's just been destroyed. And now Godzilla shows up at the worst possible time that he could ever show up in the history of Japan. This was the worst. So like now they're -1, right? And it's just like, oh, it's just so like, it's so cool. And like for the regular people to come together to join with the scientists and come up with something and be like, look, we need volunteers again. Sorry, we asked you before. We got to ask you again. And it's like, I already served my time. You did, but we need you again. And even like, I mean, all the tropes are that the guys come for the rescue, the cavalry shows up. You're like, yeah, but this is cool. We want to see this.
I love it.
It was awesome.
The only thing that could make this movie better is the dubbed version when it comes out, so I can just watch everything. No. Like Mark said, to study every detail, because I am glued to make sure I don't miss anything, because I'm good at kind of having it in the background and being able to see off my peripherals, but I'm super excited to come out digitally dubbed, that way I can pause it, slow down, study everything. So they're both going to be fantastic. But
yeah, I learned.
I'm an anime guy, so it doesn't bother me much.
I don't do anime, and I have to make sure I say that every time I hear the word, but I do like to point out that I've watched plenty of movies that have both option, and the dialogue is massively different. So I'm glad that the first viewing of it was the dubbed version, because that's as close as you can get to what they're saying, because it doesn't just translate. Because there's language is like money. There's a conversion rate to it, and you add a lot to it when you do that. But what y'all think of the Jaws influence, Justin? What did you think of getting so much Godzilla in the water?
I was actually really happy with that, especially how they showed the bombs mutating him even further, showing his evolution. Because at the first part, I was like, man, I definitely thought, Zilla would be a little bit bigger, but I liked how they showed his evolution throughout the movie. But you said in the water, it was great. Especially they showed how for his size, that's exactly how I thought he would move. I didn't see any issues, any errors. I wasn't in the water going like, man, can I see him enough? Like, it was everything that I wanted. It really was. I definitely thought that the bomb was going to take him out a little bit quicker than it did. And then when he mutated that quickly, I was like, oh, this is gonna suck for them. Like, this is bad.
Yeah.
So,
that first shot we have of him in the water, I think it really established him as an aquatic menace. Like when the two mine swooping boats were sitting there, and he did the swooping grab of it and kind of rolled over.
Definitely.
But that shot with him just kind of coming behind the boats and them just hoping that God their engines will last or go faster, like that was one of the scariest shit I've ever seen on the big screen.
Yeah, dude. Like there'd be nothing worse than that.
I think
on a wooden boat, nonetheless.
What is it?
Like Suitmation couldn't I call it Suitmation. Suitmation couldn't accomplish that back in the day. That's why he would be in the water for a little bit, then he'd come right out of it. That suit must have gotten like absorbed so much water, you just like sink the guy. So having it now to the point where we can have these effects and have him be an aquatic creature, because he is an aquatic creature that sort of has just in the middle of getting into his land form. It's kind of cool. It's scary too. It just shows the size, like that little boat. And having a crickety boat made sense. They actually made it make sense in the movie to say, well, it's made out of wood, so you have to use this boat in order to retrieve these mines safely. I thought, oh my God, this is so cool, because you know that's coming, right?
Right. But seeing his eyes just above the water level, like that, it was, oh man, it was terrifying.
Yeah.
I was going to comment that they were able to do so good on just such a small budget. I mean, you have what the Marvels movie was roughly, I want to say close
$3
to
trillion.
300 million.
250 before,
it was all of it.
250 before looking at any kind of marketing, merchandising, or anything. 250 raw budget. It's
crazy, and I don't mean to take us down that route. It's just 15 million.
Take me down that route. I'll play that game.
It's the number one live action Japanese movie ever so far.
It should have done better. Look at broadcasted it better for us in the States.
11 million this weekend.
The bomb going off, and then look at them still using practical effects like the train scene and stuff like that. Like you get both ends of the spectrum.
The models. They still pull out the models for them.
And you're still getting top tier CGI as well. Perfect. That's super fan service, sticking to the original, and it works. It's not like cheesy or anything. It's not gimmicky, and it fits. So you get both ends of the spectrum, and I love that.
I think there's more pride in the filmmaking in Japan in general, but also in respects to Godzilla. The director is not just I like Godzilla because I know of what Godzilla is and I need to create a film. He's a fan where he watches these movies and I know that he's a fan, and I have evidence that he's a fan because I watched the movie he made.
Right.
It's just like
it's not hard to tell.
You got new music in there, but you gotta have the damn classic Godzilla music. And when Godzilla shows up, have the damn classic. Nobody, if you're a non-Godzilla fan, you would not put that music in and think like, well, I could probably do better. No, you make your mark in a movie by introducing the little things that Mark mentioned in the beginning, which the scale's coming up. You know, it looks a little bit different. He moves a little bit different. You see a little bit of the healing. That's how you make your mark in a Godzilla franchise, in a 70-year franchise. You don't change the entire damn concept of the thing. You embrace the concept and put your finishing touches on it.
Correct.
This idea now that we're in, where we're playing these Marvel games, everyone's like, well, I don't like this character, but I'm forced to make this movie. I'm going to change it to suit my needs, to present what I believe this character should be, or whatever thoughts I have that I need to impress upon people because I want to be a real screenwriter. In the meantime, I'll make this Marvel movie. Whereas in Japan, they're like, we're very proud of Godzilla. We're going to present the best film that we possibly can.
Yeah,
that's the attitude.
They are stewards of the character. They are not trying to make a name for themselves first. They're trying to protect the intellectual property that is a cultural icon attached to them, much like Superman is for us, or a lot of these comic characters are for us. I say it 1,000 times. You can't come in here rewriting history to suit your needs with these characters. You have to be a good steward of them. That goes to the people making the movies, writing the comics. These characters are bigger than all of us. They were bigger than us before we were born, and they'll be bigger than us when we're gone. Like you're going to be forgotten forever on there.
That's a good point about a lot of the budget goes towards the Hollywood actors, but I also think there is in the United States or in the Western world there is a false correlation between the more money you spend, the better the better movie it is, and
And
that's
me and Paul-
absolutely false.
We've been calling it out. I'm fairly certain Disney and Warner Brothers and other of these places are laundering money through movie budgets. Like, I'm not even joking. They are laundering money through movie budgets. There's no way
It's
they're
the
not.
catering. It's the catering. Lobsters get lobster and surf and turf every meal. Catering budget like $100 million.
They've got to be. Something's amiss.
All right, let's talk about the mutation on her neck.
Radiation sickness.
Yeah.
Yeah, radiation sickness.
Yeah, you're talking about the black veins.
Yeah.
That's what. Other people from the actual bombing. That's what they actually got.
Right.
Yeah. So that's the radiation sickness. So it was interesting.
She ate a nuclear blast.
No, but it was very interesting that they had to show it at all. So that's where I'm at. So why show that? So now is that going to be a larger thing? Is that going to affect her in some way because he has this mutation? Why does he have this mutation? How can he go from nothing and just regenerate himself?
You're talking about Godzilla or the girl who survived at the end?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the girl that survived that, is that piece going to affect her because he has all this, or is it just or are they just showing that she just had radiation sickness?
She may have survived. Maybe somehow that's why she did survive.
Saying.
Like
Yeah,
she's
she
got
took on
some
his
of
powers.
Godzilla.
Right.
She's got that G. What's it in Godzilla 2000? It's called G something.
She got blasted. That was a big blast, bro.
Yeah.
And talk again, the nitpicking details. All right, so the heat ray was insane. Where they set it out differently. So the first time we see it, it's actually underwater and we don't really see it. We just see a boat that Godzilla attacks and he goes underwater after getting shot at point blank. And then you see the water glow blue and you just see boom, the boat's gone. Right. You're waiting on an atomic blast and then the boat is gone in an explosion. I look at Pops, I'm like, damn, that was fast. He goes, yeah. So the next time we see him, you actually see it in all its glory, a reaction with that cognitive ability to them escalating with tanks. As soon as he started getting hit with tanks, he said, nah, brah. And he started charging up. And when he shoots, it comes out as a solid beam that travels, but it's a short shot compared to just unleashing a blast and spraying the city or tucking your tail and flying off in the air with it or something. But he shoots it, and where it lands, it literally just hits like an atomic bomb of its own. Mushroom cloud shockwave, and when she gets blown back by the shockwave, she pushes him in, she gets blown back, and you see it go, and then you see it all recoil because like when a blast hits, it's just like doing something underwater. All the air has left, and it all has to come back. The atmosphere has to return to the area. So I'm like, yo, I can't believe they actually like added that in there. A lot of movies don't do that. Like you just blow the counter away, she hangs onto the fence, and that's it.
I don't know if this is true. I thought I saw this or might have read a small little, sketch on it, is that they designed that after like a push bomb, like his tail winding up as if like blowing I don't know.
It's lifting up and then you drop. Dude, I can see that.
Yeah, like one of the
first a simple moves. Concept. Like, because he lifted up and it drew all that air in and then just drop it.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, when he sucks that air and he like snaps and then goes forward.
Yeah. Man. I wish that it was in theaters a little bit longer. It deserves that time in there.
Yeah, I'm wondering how long it will have on the big screen. Because I know it's a limited foreign film run, and it was already battling for screen time with Beyonce. That was had a big Renaissance is the name of it. A big not live, but a big recorded performance that was released in theaters. I don't know.
I think Taylor Swift too.
Taylor Swift. Beyonce released Friday, head to head against Godzilla. When I say head to head, I mean it's battling for IMAX screens.
Of all the Godzilla stuff going on, I know you guys aren't gamers, but Fortnite had their event, which was watched by hundreds of millions of people, and it was the Eminem event. And during the event, he's huge, singing the Godzilla song, walking around, destroying a city, and he does the iconic from King of Monsters where he blasts up in the air. He's breathing fire and stuff, so it was a great tribute to Godzilla during that as well.
Yeah, I can't wait to play the new season.
It's rough. It's very bad.
I heard it was horrible.
It's horrible. I already uninstalled.
That's sad. That's sad. I was looking forward to it.
I was only back for the OG season. It brought me back, and then now I'm gone again.
Oh goodness.
Poof in the wind. But yeah, it's definitely the MonsterVerse. It's definitely the King of Monsters. It's definitely the season of kaiju for sure.
Wow. Yeah. Definitely.
But even Godzilla couldn't take down Beyonce.
Did she beat him?
That's a card.
I like how even the side characters started to really step up and become something of themselves. Like the scientist guy, who all of a sudden even in the movie, they're like, "Hey, wait, did you know this guy was this cool?" You know, it's like, "Shit, I didn't know."
Blah 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 blah.
It was a testament to like the whole like what remains. Like it doesn't matter who you were before these air raids and everything, because the only thing that matters at this point in life is can you help rebuild? That's all that matters. It doesn't matter who you were beforehand. Right now, we're all equals, just trying to feed our family, put somewhat of a roof over our head, and clean our city up. So it was pretty cool seeing them like just branch out like that, and as well like the kid, because there's three main characters. You have the captain, the kid, and the doc, and that's who Kochi or whoever his name was went to work with. And the kid's arc too was fantastic. Yeah, the kid's arc was fantastic, and how he was pretty much a greenhorn on the boat, and how the captain didn't want to put him in harm's way. He kept looking at him. He's like, "You didn't have to serve in the war because of your age. You are the special one.
You're lucky.
Yeah, be proud of that." And when he told him like, "You're not coming with us tomorrow," he's like, "You're one-armed. You're useless." Just trying to just make it make sense to him. Right. And when you see him and the doc don't even look back, and he just says like to the air, he's like, "We leave the future for you." I'm like, damn. They don't plan on coming back if they don't have to. Like they're willing to leave it all out there. It was good.
And even the way to get Tachibana, who is the mechanic, to get him to draw him out, there's such thought put into it, because if you put out a bunch of letters saying, "Hey, I need your help," it's like, well, F this guy, I don't like you. Instead, he puts it saying, "It's all your fault, you're trash, right. You're an idiot." And like, what? And then he found him like right away. But like
found him, tied him up, and started beating him.
Right. And the point of this is that this is two movies, right? You got the human story and the Godzilla stuff, and they mesh them together perfectly, but they didn't skimp on it. That's where I was really kind of impressed, because there are some good human stories in some other Godzilla films. But this one almost felt like, I think, Mark, you said this in the beginning, or even if you like if you removed all the Godzilla parts and just had a period kind of post World War II film, I'm like, this was pretty cool. Anyway, like, let's say it wasn't Godzilla. You can come up with maybe it was some tornado or an iceberg, and they had to just stop this iceberg or something. You know, it's still very interesting. And then obviously the Godzilla parts are friggin' awesome. So I don't know. It worked well on every level. Wow,
very healthy balance.
Crazy.
Yeah. I felt the same way. I didn't go, "Oh man, the story was just and I didn't go like, "Man, I wish I would have seen more of the lizard." Like I wanted more. I was perfect, healthy balance. I agree with you. For sure.
And that plan that they came up with, like I was thinking the same thing the whole movie, like, how are they going to stop him?
Sure.
Like, and it didn't even dawn on me, having seen them blow the bomb in his mouth earlier, and it wounded his face, and we saw it heal, but then nothing else was hurting him. I'm like, did he just like get tougher? But then they call it out, like he can be injured from the inside. I'm like, yo, we haven't done that before. I mean, and in a way, they kind of stopped him in a manner the same way they stopped Shin. Like, we got to make him brittle. We got to make him destructible. But the way that they did it, like, we didn't have the little zero oxygen bomb or anything, and they didn't even have those. Yeah, they didn't even have those tools. But what they did have is just basic physics. Yeah, like we had a T2 his ass. We had to take him on that 1,000 highway. I'm like, let's go. And that was so tense.
But it was okay. So the first thing is they're gonna drop him, right? They're gonna drop him to. Right. But then the second thing is we're gonna give him this massive case of the Benz. If that doesn't work, shoving him up.
Yeah, definitely.
That's cool, man.
He was in pain, bro. Coming back up, you could hear him. He was hurting.
Yeah, he started hurting when he hit that depth, and you saw him just compress a little.
He was just going.
Yeah, I liked how going back towards the first time we see him, he sounded a little bit more dinosaur, and then he transitioned more into a monster.
Now about his roar again, like standing on the shoulders of the giants that came before you and not forgetting where you come from, kind of thing. for his roar is a distinctive roar. And you're always a fan wanting to hear the roar. Even with the Daggum comic book that's finally coming out next week, everyone's been waiting to get that book in their hand and open it up and listen to him roar. That's how iconic this guy is. So what the director did to make this Godzilla's roar distinctive and unique is he went back to 1954. He went into a room with recording devices. He played Godzilla in 1954 as loud as he could, and he recorded it in open air. And then he took his recording and he put it into the movie.
Oh, he did that. That's awesome.
He took an open air recording of the original roar, and that's this Godzilla.
Wow.
It's the same one, but instead of just being a straight digital audio recording, it's an open air recording of it.
That is awesome.
And that's the most iconic roar to me. Like the classic, iconic, like give me that every single time. Like I said, we have the evolution of everything, but that's the one that always peaks to me for every Godzilla.
On top of that, the full reveal, like you talked about the music. When we got we saw him in the water. We saw him as a juvenile. But when we got the first full reveal, they gave us the full body shot. They instantly hit the OG music right then and there.
Feels.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, just talk about like, and dude, even Finn like is a bigger Godzilla fan than I am. Like for our age, like he's just a diehard Godzilla fan. Like who wasn't as a kid? You know, a lot of people are, and that's just his jam. And as soon as that music played, because he listens to that music, like he makes the Google speakers play it and stuff. And but as soon as that played, like he's like. Like a 6-year-old going.
That's solid. Yeah, it was a great movie. I can't wait to. Hopefully, they do a 4K release. I don't know if.
Oh, they will.
Oh, they will for certain. Yeah, they did with Shin.
Yeah, I hope so. We'll probably get that soon.
Speaking of Shin, for everybody in chat and everything, if you haven't seen Shin Godzilla, go. It's on a couple different streaming services. It's on Crunchyroll or whatever. Go check that out, and if you like that even a little bit, you're gonna go nuts for.
That's the most unique take on Godzilla ever done. More unique so than the '96 American one. Me and Pop, see for that one's American release, it wasn't as wide as -1 is. It was just a Fandom event. Me and Pops went and watched that one on the big screen. And talk about your jaw on the floor. Like what?
The most crazy transformation you've ever seen, and like. Just it's undescribable.
Yeah, it has like singular. What is it called? Like Singular Point, the newest anime stuff, where you see him go through the evolutionary stages from like aquatic horizontal creature with no. Yeah,
he finally figures out how to stand up and like he sprouts his arms basically.
But yeah, when he does the flex and he can like shoot the atomic blast off the scales and stuff, that was nuts.
That was cool, yeah.
And the jaw unhinging and the blast focusing.
Yeah, and it opens up even more or whatever.
He just like cuts the entire city in half with one. But even then, you don't get like the scope and scale of true destruction that's happening in that you did in -1 because of how smart this director was. Like we're on the ground with the people looking up at him. We're looking at him the best we can because of buildings in our way. And that moment when Godzilla just turns and his tail just erases the city that's behind him and the people.
That was bloody awesome. And like the thing is that because in every scene of the destruction, there was always someone specific to latch onto. Like you had the crew. This happened in the 54 movie too. That the camera crew and the news crew. They're like, oh, and they're like, oh my god, we're screwed. Like we're dead here. So you felt bad for them. The girl was in the train, and you felt bad for her. I think I love Shin Godzilla. I think the small failure of Shin Godzilla is that it's super specific to Japan's like political system, and it's making fun of the fact that they can never. Decide on anything. It's constant meetings and red tape. And they go from one meeting room to another, and it plays well for me because I think that's actually pretty funny. But for a regular audience, I know a lot of people were just like, the Godzilla parts were 10 out of 10. The human parts were like, because there wasn't characters to get emotionally invested in, whereas this one does. So I think the director kind of took the cool. Let's have some cool things in -1, but let's have some human story that I don't want to say generic person, but anybody can relate to. Oh, kamikaze. Yeah, I know what that is. Oh no, he didn't do it. But and then you even think to yourself, well, I wouldn't want to do that. Right. And you immediately are on his side. And then you're like, now this girl's an orphan. Oh my God, this woman doesn't have anyone and they're together and I got to protect them. So right away, it sets you up to immediately be with this guy. So you are invested right away. I don't think Shin was able to do that. I accept Shin. I think it's a great movie because of the statement it's making, and it is pretty fun. Like when they're like, we gotta go to the next. Okay, guys, we had this meeting, and then something else comes on. The guy's like, well, let's go to the other meeting room. Like, what the hell's happening? You're just going to another meeting room. So I did appreciate that, but I think generic normies are going to be like, this one's a little bit better. I'd say Shin's like maybe like an 8 out of 10 or something.
The legendary deal had to be the best thing that happened to Toho. You know, when they signed the legendary deal, they agreed that they won't make another Godzilla movie till 2020. And they didn't drop one in 2020. They started working on one in 2020, and it worked out in its favor. Like that little breather room, you know, we had a breather room that brought us Shin, and it was different. It was what was needed for that time for the fans, you know. But this right here is what just put Godzilla, the OG Godzilla on the map for everybody. Like this just put everyone on alert, and stuff like this being such a critical success, being so talked about. There's not a single person that has seen this and said, wasn't for me. I've watched countless reviews now that have been people that say, you know, I'm not a Godzilla person. I didn't grow up with it. It's just monster mayhem stuff, blah, blah, blah. This movie changed me. It changed my mind completely. I'm a Godzilla fan now, blah, blah, blah. So I think seeing that kind of response, seeing what they can do with the budget that they got on this, that like it really should encourage other studios to make better financial decisions. You know what I'm saying?
Can I just elaborate on that for just 1 second? Because I just thought of this, like,
only because you watch these hands.
Okay, good. No, here's the thing. Even when people like some of these,
I'm sorry, guys. I got my key off at work. So love you guys. Godzilla rules. Have a great night.
Take care.
No, when people like some of these dopey Marvel movies, they're like, "Oh, I thought it was pretty good." Perfect. Now that you thought it was pretty good, are you going to go collect the comics? Are you going to go buy toys? Are you going to get T-shirts? Are you going to get tattoos? Well, no, right. Because you didn't actually really think it was really that good. Look, we're nerds here. We buy stuff, right? Everyone's got comics and stuff behind them.
We're easy sells. We're
easy. I'm the easiest of all time, right? It's like, so you watch -1. What did everyone do? You saw -1. You're like, God damn. Firstly, before you even saw -1, quickly got to watch a few Godzilla movies. We popped in Destroyer, which I love. That's a great one to go to. Came home after -1. Next day, I'm like, let me watch 54. Like, immediately go online. What shirts are available? Quickly pre-order those statues. There's a couple of ones that are coming out for this one, right?
The Super 7 figure everyone's after.
Yes. Like, there's so many, and we start watching interviews. You're like, what did everyone else think? You start looking around. All these other people, they come back and they see a movie and they're like, yeah, that was pretty good. I liked it. And they go in the comments, oh, I like this movie. It was okay. You know, I give it an 8 out of 10 or whatever. It's like, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything. Are you going to now be a fan for life? If the people who loved, let's say, the Marvels, are they now going to be Captain Marvel super fans and go buy the new comic that like issue 2 just came out? Like, are they going to go buy all of that? No, they're not. Actually, I did buy it though. But anyway, are they going to do that? No, they're not. Right. So it's not that good. And I think these guys are losing the fans that way. Thank you.
You're right, though.
No, what fan gets produced out of that movie? That's the thing. It's not just the movie that sells. Then you got to get these guys in it for life, right? Like, I showed my wife Godzilla. She's like, hell yes, we got to watch part. We watched them in order. We watched the whole thing in order, like about 2 years ago. And it's like,
shout out to Scott.
Like, 2, 3, 4. We did all 30 or whatever it was, and she loves it. She immediately got to get a Mechagodzilla toy, got one. Got to get a Godzilla toy, got one, of course. And she wants to get Ghidra, got to get a Ghidra, right? I say Ghidra because it's the way that we said it as kids. So that's one thing.
I say Maestro, so I'm not judging.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like Godzilla, this movie brought people in. And now if you've seen it for the first time, I bet you'll be like, damn, I didn't think Godzilla was this amazing. What else should I watch, right?
Yeah.
Not just, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
And that's what
with their day. Like, what does that mean?
To Comic Journey's comment here, Godzilla people are Godzilla people. This has its own community, and what -1 has managed to do is transcend that community and hit the non-Godzilla people in a way that makes them stop and think, "Yo, I guess this can be different." Now, I wouldn't expect, like, if you don't like Godzilla movies, if you're not into Pacific Rim or like Godzilla versus Kong, and you go watch this and you're blown away, which you will be. There's no question about it. You will be surprised at how much you enjoy this film, no matter who you are. That doesn't mean go watch Godzilla X Kong New Empire and expect the same reaction, because we're going back to the monster genre with that. You know, we're going back to the tropes, and I'm so pumped for that. It's ridiculous.
I do have to go, guys, but I appreciate you guys so much.
All right, Justin, I appreciate you coming by. Scott says I became a Godzilla fan in the 70s because I wasn't alive before the 70s. Man, that's on you, Scott. Do better. Do better. What is going on, Headquake? Good to see you. People can have their own opinions and like what they like. They don't have to go out and buy comics, toys because they like a movie. That is so true, and also kind of be beyond the point. Yeah, you don't have to, but that's a natural side effect of something being ridiculous quality, having left a mark on people. You have some people that just aren't toy people or comic people, but you have a large amount of us that are, yourself included, Headquake. You're a big time collector as well. When something hits, you want a piece of it. You know, like people do different stuff to remember different occasions in life and things in life. And for fandom minded folks like most of us here in this chat and stuff, you know, collectors in general, they want a piece of it. You go to a baseball game, you go to see a World Series, you want to leave with a souvenir out of the gift shop or something to commemorate the moment. But
I'm talking about target audience, not like I have a friend who's a Toronto Blue Jays fan. That's baseball.
Is his name actual Dracula?
Yeah. No, I don't know. And he has a game-worn jersey from every Blue Jays game since '77. Game-worn. He's got a ball. He loves it. So he collects. So if something happens in the world of baseball and he thinks it's not good or whatever, or it doesn't excite him to then lead to the next level, that's saying we're the nerds here. So, you know, if you go see a movie and you love it, your chances are you're going to maybe buy something or collect something, or maybe you already collect it. That's all I'm saying. The Marvels or the MCU movies, they're not targeting my mom. My mom is never going to get it. She might watch it when it comes on Netflix, if it's on free TV one night and she's got nothing better to do and she clicks on, she's like, oh, okay, I'll watch it. And then that will be the it for her. So that's what I'm saying. Godzilla, this is made for fans, but it's made with such love and care that it transcends. Sometimes a movie made for a niche audience can transcend to a larger audience to bring more people in. Even if you only get 1%, that's 1% more Godzilla fans than we had yesterday. And that's how you grow over 70 years. You know, somebody sees one, I really like this. They go back, watch a couple of the other ones. Like, we're all lucky. We can go back and watch all this at the drop of a time. I got everything on Blu-ray. I was collecting shit on VHS. I bought Monster Island and Godzilla vs. Gigan the same day on VHS, came home. I was like, put it in and watch one, watch the second one. I'm like, that's the same movie. I'm like, what the hell? And just because they call it something else. So we're in a great time right now. So I don't know. Anyway, that's my
Sledge. I don't know if some of this theaters might show a dubbed option. To my knowledge, they typically don't. You have to wait on it to be released at home, as with most any foreign film. Now, like my kid's built different. So Finn sits here at home and he watches old Godzilla movies over the new ones. Over the legendary stuff. He watches the older ones. And he'll watch them streaming or on Tubi when they're all subtitled. They're not dubbed, and he doesn't care. So I talked to him and Monkey both, like when we got the tickets. I'm like, all right, so you know it's Toho Godzilla, so it's not going to be in English. All okay with that? He goes, Dad, I'm not there to look at the people. I'm like, fair enough. But like he was sitting with Pops, you know, we feed him little plot points when he wants them. But I mean, at his age, like he can just track all he's going to get from it anyways, just from watching. He sees them sweeping, and they literally show you what they're doing with scooping mines and blowing them up, and as much context as he needs, he gets.
Godzilla destroying a city is the same in any language.
Exactly.
Universal language.
Oh, that's pretty cool, Headquake. That's awesome. We got a $2.99 super chat from Mad Spidey. Quick hello. Hope you're doing good, brother. It was awesome getting to chat with you at the wee hours of the morning this morning for a brief moment on CJ's channel. Boom, 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 boom. Like G-Force and Battle of Planets. Same show, different name. Yep.
Yes, I've got that on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm. The box set that they did with the Alex Ross artwork on it.
Yes.
Oh, it's
Gotcha,
awesome.
man.
Gotcha, man. Yeah.
Here we go. To answer your question, there was a dubbed and a subbed version planned for the USA release, but when the strike took place, the plan for dubbed got scrapped. Oh man, that's
interesting.
Definitely unfortunate. But we've been rocking for about an hour. Let's switch gears here. It's kind of on topic, off topic. That just by happenstance, I knew and posted that the trailer for Godzilla X Kong New Empire was supposed to be dropping within the week. There was a screening at a film festival of it coming in accordance with that. They were going to release the trailer, and we got it today, hours ago. The fourth installment now, in the fifth installment in the film franchise for the legendary MonsterVerse. Godzilla X Kong New Empire dropped. It looks wild. They are absolutely leaning full on heavy into the this is kaiju madness, absolute kaiju madness, and it looked wild. There's a lot of cool elements. My initial takeaway was just seeing the visuals, just seeing the characters where they are in the situations that you can kind of assume that they're in. Just has my mind going 1,000 miles an hour. What were your guys' thoughts on this one?
Well, it looked cool to me. I like all the I pretty much like all the Godzilla movies. I pretty much like any giant monster movie, regardless of what it is. Just as a fun factor thing, I like this Hollow Earth stuff. I think it really opens it up to giving more monsters and more mythical stuff, which I think is cool. It doesn't always have to be science; it could be fantasy. And it could be a blend of both. And this is what this kind of is. I like that they're just saying Godzilla is now a hero. The cross or X means that they team up as opposed to a versus. So it's the two of them fighting. I saw a hand at the beginning that looked like had some sort of armored thing. So I don't know what is that.
I'll let you go and I'll get into something or what. So yeah, Kong is older in this one. Like I don't obviously not too much time has gone by. I think real world time has gone by, but Kong in the last film was drastically older than we saw him in Skull Island. Like that's like a 50-year difference there to begin with. And it looks like, to me, my takeaway, it looks like the years are weighing on him. You see a more robust looking Kong in there, but you see him, I'm presuming, to have an injured arm. We see him face to face with the trouble in the trailer, which is Scar King, the great red ape, the actual king of Hollow Earth. You know, we got down to Hollow Earth in the last film. Yep. We have not explored it at all. And that's what this film will be doing. It's exploring Hollow Earth, finding out that there is a hierarchy down there led by this ancient titan called Scar, who's just an evil SOB who has the ability to control other titans, specific ones. But I'm assuming his battle with Kong isn't going to be a one-on-one fight due to what he's able to do. It's no secret. It wasn't in the trailer, but there is a second massive Titan villain in this called Shimu. It's an ancient Titan. It's supposed to be the very first Titan. Scar is supposed to have the ability to control him, hence the vibrant blue eyes in those early promo things. This Shimu Titan is supposed to be the thing responsible for the Ice Age years ago, at least as it's looking right now. So I'm assuming the battle that Kong tries to have to kind of reset the hierarchy of the Hollow Earth leaves him wounded. Arm brace. Awesome. And for anyone to think that an arm brace on a giant gorilla is goofy in these, think of Monarch's capability. That's really basic. That's super duper basic. But Godzilla, seeing him lighting up red and pink, I thought was fantastic. Yeah. I was talking to the homie Kevin over on IG, and we were talking about he's asking about the pink, and I said my thoughts is that Godzilla's home was destroyed in King of the Monsters. They had to nuke it to juice him up. He has to find a new slumber place. What he does when he slumbers, he chills and he absorbs radiation from the earth. Well, I'm thinking that he might be getting some different radiation absorption where he's at. Hence, that'll be the MacGuffin for the upgrade for the different style. And really, all it's for is aesthetic purposes. You have to write in a reason. You know what I mean?
Right. It's like it's Dragon Ball. He just like new hair color. All right.
Yeah, we're doing ice theme in this one a lot. So I'm assuming they're like, well, let's counterbalance that with red. It'll look cool. New toys, same molds, new toys though. It'll be fun. So just seeing Godzilla running again, like we only really saw him run when he fought King Kong, when he was like on all four, just savage, like, but to see him actually running, like, dude, like that's not something you see often. So to me, that just like that triggers the dopamine in my brain. I'm like, look, but we get to see that Kong was wrong. He is not the last of his kind. He was on Skull Island. The rest of the ape races, I think some of what we saw was flashbacks to Scar being that sadistic SOB, but there are others that are left. And I am predicting that our Kong is not going to be named king in this one, but he's going to die because he already is the king. Yeah. He's going to go out like a true king because he doesn't need to be crowned. He already is. And we saw his legacy in that trailer already. That's what I took away from it, but I'm absolutely hyped. I think it'll be sad to see him die. Like, it's one of the saddest things in the world is to see King Kong die, despite he does it so much.
He does die a lot, but it's sad because I think we connect to the apes more than a lizard or an unnamed monster, and we see ourselves in him. And he's a bit misunderstood. He's battered. Well, I mean, I guess in Godzilla versus Destroyer, you do see him like he basically implodes or melts, but like
down.
King Kong gets damaged, and when King Kong gets hurt, you feel immediately worse. Like he gets hurt, you're like oh shit, you know. So I think just the
characteristics and emotions and responses.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you see him in pain,
and he has love because he has emotions for sure, and we know that, so it automatically makes him more relatable. He's gonna die 100%. We've got the feeling, right? Like that's gonna happen to add some
and
weight.
like why would they introduce Son of Kong? That's what they did originally in the original Kong, and he even went out like a G when Skull Island was sinking, holding the people above water with himself under to keep them alive. You know, I'm like, dude,
that's cool. Yeah,
I think that's what they're going to do. And that's really Kong's legacy. That's who the character is, kind of thing. Like you hurt for him, you attach yourself to him, like you said.
Right.
But then there's always that addition of hope attached to it. You know, like even with the 70s stuff, you know, they gun him down, but they bring him back with the pacemaker just for him to die again, saving his family and the kid. You know, like you can see like the history repeating itself in the new universe, kind of thing. But I would like to see him survive. If we're being completely honest, I don't want to see Kong die. I love this Kong. This Kong is amazing. But
they're doing good. Like Legendary's doing fine. I like the fact that we've got these two things going. We got the Japanese one every song. It feels like it's like we're never going to be out of a Godzilla movie. It's like as soon as you're like, oh, -1's coming out, it's like, oh yeah, now I got to wait. Well, we got this other one coming out, and I don't think there's no point in getting angry or comparing anyways. Like I know some people are like, well, I don't like these as much. As like, well, okay, then I don't know what to tell you. Like, don't watch it. But like to me, it's a giant Godzilla. Like I actually have a friend of mine was like, well, I'm not watching Monarch. Godzilla's not really in it. I'm like, well, it's not called the Godzilla TV series. It's called Monarch.
Bro,
I don't know what to tell you.
Like if you're not watching that, like you have no idea what happens in episode 3 then, because that was the most gratifying thing I have ever seen. The whole Bikini Atoll scene. Like me and Finn turned on 2014 Legendary today, just while we're sitting there killing time and just hanging out today. And the opening credits, watching the Bikini Atoll scene, like we know what happens now. And I'm showing yeah, that's where, and he got in its face and they blew him up and they can't kill him. I'm like, I know.
Yeah. No, they're doing it. And listen, whoever got Kurt Russell and Wyatt to play the same character at different ages, I'm like, well, that's genius.
Yes.
Because like Wyatt Russell is Kurt Russell. Like it's like it's like one of these fake, like he looks so much like him that you're like, it's like one of these fake movies where they DH someone. You're like, that's just Kurt Russell young. Like
I hope so, Kevin, but I just think that his arc calls for something a little different. You know, like his Legendary Kong's origin is his entire family was killed by evil, sadistic creatures. And now he's about to find out that he's not alone, and this entire Small One's family is getting killed by an evil, sadistic. He's about to walk into the scenario that he came from with the capabilities to not let it happen to this next one.
It's like Gran Torino or something.
I think like if we fast forward X number of years in the future, the Kong, that little baby Kong, and this is the legendary Kong, and it took the OG Kong clearing the path for him to not, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and to Dr. Von Hoot's comment, like Godzilla's he is. Just don't go watching the Toho stuff because Kong drug his ass. But if you want to level up Kong more than what they've done already, you have to do it with a different one. You know what I mean? And looks like they might be opening the way for new opportunities.
No, they go to the Hollow Earth. And
Earth, yeah. Like he was the last of his kind as far as he knew. This Kong never went to Hollow Earth till versus Godzilla. The Skull Crawlers owned the caverns. Like there was no going underground. So like there have been great apes in Hollow Earth for as long as we know of at this point, and there are still some down there. And that's what he's going to discover in this new movie, that he's not alone.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
What if the villain ape goes out like Kong climbing the Empire State Building with Godzilla and Kong in pursuit and the fighter jets trying to assist them? That would be dope. That's what they did in King Kong Escapes when he was fighting Mecha Kong. They went up the Eiffel Tower and everything.
I like King Kong Escapes. They just made him bigger just for this shit because it's like they made him big for King Kong versus Godzilla. Like, oh, we'll make him big and have Mecha Kong. I'm like, of course, because that's genius.
And dude, I didn't even think about it till recently, but Kong Skull Island, they have the Wanderer, which was a callback to the ship from the original 1933, and he takes the propeller off of it and he fights with it on the chain. That was a callback to King Kong Escapes. Because when the evil bad guys were trying to get away on the boat after Mecha Kong went down, he went out in the water, beat their boat up, took their propeller off, and beat
I haven't seen it in so long after we watched
like
it.
King Kong using propellers on ships as weapons is a reoccurring thing. I'm like, yo, that's awesome.
I'd love to see the Gargantuas. Wouldn't it be cool if they have you seen War of the Gargantuas? That'd be great to have those guys come in at one point.
It just keeps growing and keeps growing. Scar is taller than Godzilla. Yeah, he's supposed to be huge. The best Kongzilla movie was Rampage with The Rock. I love that movie.
I saw it in the theater. I liked it. Yeah, George. I spent $20 on Rampage when that came out in the arcades. Like $20 in 1980, whatever.
I have it on Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
Yep, they came out with it on N64. Yo, see Skull Island. That was probably out of the MonsterVerse stuff. That was probably the best done. I mean, Gareth Edwards' 2014 is so well done. It's ridiculous visually.
It's good.
Pacing wise, it's a serious Godzilla movie. Like kind of like -1. The only difference is whenever you have, if they do another follow-up to -1, there's no way to live up to this one if you introduce another monster for Godzilla to fight. Him being the bad guy is what made it what it was, really. Can you imagine?
Yeah, like what could they do? They'd have to use Magara, or like I liked in the SOS and the one before that where it was the bones of the original Godzilla were used to create the Mecha Godzilla to fight. It'd have to be the humans but like again, when is that going to take place? Because if you're going to say it's the 50s, what technology do you have to create something to battle Godzilla? I don't know what they're going to do after this.
This being so grounded, there's no way. There's no way. There is no Monarch. There is no G-Force. There is none of that. This was not a sci-fi movie at all.
I think it might be just a one-off, which is fine. I mean, we have so many Godzilla. The thing is, we're at a point where there's so many Godzilla movies that you change it up here and there. It's not like there's only like X number of, I don't know, Mad Max
what I was thinking of. I think right? Frankenstein Conquers the World, where you start.
That's a great movie. Yeah, that's Frankenstein. That's a great movie. Yeah.
War of the Gargantuan. One was like brownish color and one was greenish color.
Yeah, one was like red, one was brownish red, and one was green. I made little characters for that. I had a game. I actually created a little role-playing game for my friends when I did like a Monster Day or something. I do whenever I host parties, I'll create games or something to go with it and do poster giveaways and soundtracks and stuff.
Look at this. The chat is split. But DVH says Skull Island is definitely his favorite of the legendary run. Esteban says, sadly, Kong Skull Island is the worst of the legendary run.
I don't know, but I think it might.
I like how split a lot of people are. Like Godzilla King of the Monsters seems to be universally not liked by a lot of people. And for me, I'm like, yo, that is the most balls to the wall, like can't stop, won't stop, intense one that they've done.
I mean, Rodan is absolutely
King Kong being like my goat when it comes to giant monsters. Yeah. Like King Kong versus Godzilla was my favorite one they did, just because that was just, I don't know, that just hit on like my personal fandom. But King of the Monsters has got to be the most rewatched one I've watched over and over out of them.
Yeah, I've seen that probably 3 times.
The greatest movie that's ever been made, Pops. We're not getting into that discussion.
Yeah, that inspired. That's not just a movie. That inspired filmmakers to dream bigger and to create more and to push that envelope and push your imagination. And so many people came from that. Harryhausen, who's my hero, came directly from that. And then for and then through that, Harryhausen then, spread it out more. Like, I mean, there's some movies that are just culturally important. I actually think Godzilla, the first one, is too. My friend, his dad saw Godzilla 54 in the theater, and they weren't saying, this is a great, cool monster flick. They were scared shitless. They're like, oh my God, this is crazy. This movie, -1, almost, you never say something's better than the first movie because that usually pisses me right off. But I'll say this movie came so close to being scary. At times, you're just, even Shin Godzilla too, at times you're like, this almost isn't that fun because you're like, the people are getting just like so destroyed that you start to feel bad. It's not like when you're watching a classic Godzilla, you're like, yeah, you want to see the fight. This one, you're like, I feel bad that this place just got
y'all run,
destroyed.
stop breaking buildings, let him get a little bit farther away first.
Yeah,
And Will
like,
O'Brien is who Harryhausen trained under. That's the guy who did King
yes,
Kong.
yes. Will O'Brien is the King Kong. Yeah. Well, I loved it. Okay, I'll just say that right there. Yeah, I absolutely just friggin' loved that movie. I thought King of the Monsters was cool too. I mean, Rodin, like, he caused like such great damage in that. And Mothra's a personal favorite. I think Mothra, the first Mothra movie, is one of my favorite movies of all time. I don't know why.
People.
I love the twins. They're great.
Yeah, Cliff's seen it. Cliff saw it.
Hey, there you go. I see that. Are you the only? Was Cliff the only person in this chat of like tons of people that is? It's not playing a lot. So I met people at the theater who had to drive over an hour. For me, it was only 15 minutes away, so it's easy. But I live in one of the bigger cities with like a bigger multiplex with like an IMAX and all that other stuff. So some people drove out an hour to and this guy's like, me and my son drove an hour. I'm like, dude, go good. It's worth it.
Kevin wins. We talked. He decided to go take a 3-hour trip to go see it.
Oh, wow. I mean, I hate to tell people to drive far, but I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, the sound was crazy. It actually wasn't real IMAX. If that is a factor for people, like it still had that sort of Band-Aid kind of, like, it didn't fill the thing. Like, I know the next one, this New Empire is going to be filmed for IMAX. So it'll be the proper. I only see movies in IMAX, so that's the only reason I noticed that. It didn't deter anything because the sound is bloody incredible, and it's still way bigger than you would see it at a normal theater. So I would still say it is 100% worth IMAX.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If I'm going to go to the theater, it's not going to be for just any random movie. It's going to be for something that I'm really into, and I'm going to see it in the most prestige format that's available for it. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right. Well, it's riding close to 10 o'clock. We're going to have to switch gears a little bit here, talk some comics, and we still have the giveaway to go through.
Cool. And you know what? I've got to get going anyway. So I already stayed. I already stayed way longer, but I'm too excited because like nobody went with me. Everyone, I saw it by myself.
Well, before you go, let Cliff tell you what he thought of Godzilla.
Cliff, what did you think? Were you the 3-hour drive or no? Were you the? Oh no, you're the
1 hour drive. 1 hour.
1 hour. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Was it worth the drive?
Oh yeah. When I was on with the council earlier, and it's so funny because yesterday I was so crazy, like I did not mention to the guys that I had seen it, right? And they're like, "How you held it so close to the chest?" And I'm like, "Dude, there was a lot on my mind." But I never imagined a Godzilla film would make me feel like this, and it was just so great. And like,
I didn't realize it had such a staggered release worldwide. So I guess it's only come out in Japan and the US. It hasn't hit anywhere else yet. I looked at the
Canada, so we've got it.
Oh yeah, y'all are America's hat though, so that's the same thing.
Yes, they do consider us the same for a lot of these things. It says the release date, and it's like that's the American release date. Well, that's also the Canadian release date. Yes.
Once in a blue moon, you'll get something a little earlier than the US, and I'm just like so.
Yeah, like Star Trek, baby. Original Star Trek, yeah.
That's what they call it. They call it the North American release date.
North American, yeah.
But yeah, Larry, who's local, he saw it, and my friend Josh saw it. Josh, who's usually in our videos with his young kids, and he was raving about it, right? And I was like, well, damn, like Josh was like, it was 10 out of 10. It's the best movie I've seen this year, right? And this guy doesn't play around. And I'm like, okay, well, now I've got to see it. So, like, I was just, like, looking. I have a friend in Connecticut who wanted to see it. Perfect. And, of course, it was playing there. So, 1 hour out to Connecticut. And dude, like, and, I mean, I'm just, like, casual, right? So, like, I was like, wow, this is compelling. I'm involved, and I'm looking at my friend, and Ray is just like tears are coming down his face. And this is the first 35 minutes of the movie.
It hasn't even started.
Yo, the hug he gave me on the way out of the theater was insane.
Yes.
Because like I was like, this was an excellent movie. Like this is fantastic. And he's just like, I'm so happy I shared this experience with you.
Oh, that's great.
It's a heavy film.
Yeah.
No, it is heavy. I wasn't prepared for Godzilla to be heavy, but it's funny me going and watching it and be like, wow, I'm blown away. But someone who's a Godzilla fan is with me. And he was like, oh my God, I have to hug you. Oh, I'm so glad somebody was here with me. Like, it was like a whole thing, you know? And he's like, oh my God, the island. Oh my God, the ending. Oh my, like, it was just nonstop. Usually it's me babbling. Like, he was out of it. I was like, okay.
What were your thoughts, Cliff, as an absolute normie for it? When the letter at the end, when the main character, the nanny showed up with his pseudo daughter in the letter, what feelings did you get to the letter?
I mean, look, just coming, just the appearance, I was like, oh wow, like I was like I already had like my heart up in my throat. Forget it. I was like, I can't believe I can believe it, but like, I'm so impressed they made a human interest story with Godzilla, right? Like, it was like powerful. And like, this is the kind of movie that like, I would force my relatives to watch it.
You know, what's crazy is I didn't realize how much emotional tension I was carrying in that movie. Cause like, you're feeling it, you're invested, and you're going through the beats with the characters, and you never truly realize how much you picked up along the way till it dawned on you she was alive, and you're just like,
right? Because you're like, oh my God, like, right? You actually felt like it was your own relative, right?
Yes,
you're like,
I agree.
Shit, she's alive. Like, yo, the movie didn't, and right? It's not like these are the best Godzilla characters ever, but this was excellent execution, and that's really what it was here. They got you involved in that world. They got you involved in those characters. They pumped up the wrist, right? And then that's it. It just had you like this for the whole movie.
Yeah, it was.
And Godzilla was a real monster. Godzilla was a terrifying force, right?
Yeah.
You know, like seeing him on the screen, it was like, oh shit! It was like when you see the alien appear in Alien for the first time. You're like, oh crap! You're like, oh, you're like, no, Godzilla, no, be nice. Oh,
yeah, I was thinking that. Like, no, Godzilla. Hold on a second.
Esteban
like,
Googled it in his area.
Butterfly.
They're only showing it at 10 p.m. every day on all theaters in his area, so it has a very limited window. To Esteban, I would say that doesn't suck. Go see it. Like,
Just
take what you can.
10 p.m. is not that bad.
You will not regret it. You'll be like, yeah,
it's only 2 hours. It's not. This isn't a Marvel movie that's 3 hours and 3 hours too long. It's only 2 hours, so you can definitely make. That was funny. Anyway, guys, Mark, I gotta get going though.
All right, brother. I appreciate you hopping on. Thank you so much. Again, everybody, if you haven't already, check out J-Man77 right here on the YouTubes.
Yeah, fantastic. Say, Jay, this is the first thing we've agreed on so far. First thing. Every time I watch you, I'm like, why are you trashing the thing I love? What is wrong? Like, you'll see me in the comments, like, you let me down again. And tonight, I'm like, finally.
And I'll try not to. And if I'm ever rude to anybody, I'm not really being rude. I'm trying to be funny.
You're not rude, but it's so
you're rude to me all the time.
Like, you're doing it to me.
But I am. That's why I come on a 10 out of 10. I'm not easy on stuff. I just gave the latest Doctor Who a 6 out of 10. I've got 4 million. I've got 50 comments. Everyone's saying I'm an idiot for 6 out of 10. That's decent. So like, I don't just give a 10 just for the heck of 10.
Was that special number 2 or special number 1?
Special number 2. Special number 1 was.
I'm gonna watch it when we're done here. But you need to give Wonder Woman another chance. You read issues 1 through 3, Mister. And
I bought them all because I'm a sucker anyways for Wonder Woman. But I don't know. I'll try.
How far did you read into Wonder Woman? Seriously,
5 pages of issue 1.
No,
don't
no,
care.
no,
Read
no,
for
homie.
3 and come
like-
back.
Like real quick, in all sincerity, just for like mind space, right? Take your space system, put it on the shelf. Just
Okay.
forget about it when you're reading
All
it.
right.
And Wonder Woman right now is the -1 of Wonder Woman.
Really? Oh my God.
This is
Okay.
the -1 of Wonder Woman.
God.
Read
Okay.
all 3. Like I'm
Yeah,
telling
all right.
you,
All
that's what
right.
this is. Like he's solidifying Golden Age Wonder Woman history back into it.
Okay.
The pacing of it is crafted. It's not.
Really?
It's not. This is not comic book storytelling. This
Okay.
is masterclass crafted storytelling that it's bookended. It's mapped out. It's
Okay.
plotted,
Wow.
it's plotted with Daniel Sampier, the artist. Like this is some Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons.
Wow.
level.
Really? Okay. All right.
Not
All right.
Look, Tom,
I have them all. I've got the issues.
listen, but I know why people feel the way they feel about Tom King. But every writer, when you're actually given time to write ahead and work with the artist ahead,
Mhm.
it unfolds beautifully. And he actually had the opportunity to do that with Daniel, and Daniel actually really gives a shit. And
Fair warning. Do not look ahead ever when
No,
you're
no,
reading
I
it.
don't. Yeah.
And see, I fight myself at times, and like I get lost in them when they're good, and I get lost in these, and you'll page turn and sit back in your seat,
Okay.
like it's.
All right.
and some of it is subtle. Some of it is so subtle and beautiful.
It'll just be a stand. It'll just be a
Daniel's
standoff.
artist.
It'll be a camera
right.
just backing up to a. She's just there. You're like, oh shit.
All right. I'll pull them out of the box. Oh my gosh.
I'm like, of all the things you've critiqued, I'm like, no, you go back to
Wonder Woman. Look, I'm a Wonder Woman. I'm a big Wonder Woman fan from day one. So I will definitely, I will definitely check it out. All right.
All right,
That's
J-Man,
it.
we'll quit holding you hostage.
All
Cliff,
right.
now that you're
Thank
here,
you
now
so
that
much, guys.
you defended Diana's honor so tactfully, you want to talk some more comics from this week with us?
comics from this week, sure.
Sure. Hey, Paul.
I mean,
Oh, I'm
I
good.
had severe mixed feelings about this.
Paul, go ahead and kick us off.
Well, I'm not going to do Titans Beast World because we're going to do that tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. So, I was going to do Alan Scott Green Lantern.
Alan Scott
#2.
Green Lantern, issue number 2. Perfect book for this panel. You've got 3 Alan Scott fans. You have 3. You have at least one new Tim Sheridan fan here, at least now. He definitely made up for what was it, Titans Academy? I'm not blaming him for that, but he's at least delivering. He's showing us what he's capable of finally.
Yes, and we had the promise of the at the end of the last issue that it was going to be talking about gay conversion therapy, and he went for it.
He went for it.
Yeah, and I think he did it really well. You know, I thought he handled it in a way that was true to, I think, what it has shown to have been, and it also kind of it also showed within Alan Scott what that does to a person and the feelings that it entails and that it brings forth. Of maybe there's something here, and if I could just think differently, I would act differently, type of a thing. And so I was really impressed, and I enjoyed it a lot.
And you know what I was impressed by was Alan Scott was like, well, I'm here for myself because
Right.
this is what I want, right? And his friend, he's like, well, she would never want this. And they were like, sir. And it's like, we took care of that part of the brain. And they lobotomized his friend.
Yep.
You know? And like, Alan Scott's like, why would you do this? You know? Like, and like, obviously this wasn't her wishes. And they're like, yeah. He's better off this way. Like, I was like,
It was barbaric. It reminded me of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with like just how far medicine just hasn't come and has come kind of thing. Like it just kind of, it's an eye opener to like, man, it's really a dangerous game out there. You know what I'm saying? It makes me like question just everything, because think how many people trusted their institutions, trusted their physicians, trusted the people that were supposed to be helping them, and they genuinely thought they were helping them. And that's scary to think, the damage, the loss of life, the loss of individuals without losing their life even. But it was absolutely crazy. Some of the biggest highlights for this one was, for me, is not only the absolute balance beam act that Tim Sheridan's having to play with taking such a hot topic, especially in modern comics for fans. It's going to split and divide fans. And the only way to shut the haters down across the board is to write a damn good story. And he did. And not just a damn good story about Alan Scott, who is now an LGBTQ character, but an Alan Scott who's actually going through a realistic story for Alan Scott if he wasn't still. You're attaching that to the story and finding a way to make it work. And one thing that Tim Sheridan said early on is he doesn't want to rewrite Alan Scott. He likes Alan Scott. He loves the history of Alan Scott. How does this work with the history of Alan Scott? And we got to see some of that with this, with the lantern itself being a gift to him and being attached to that train ride. And they're taking the existing Alan Scott lore and showing you that everything you know about Alan is still 100% true. And that was like, got him, Tim. Yeah. That's what you needed to do. That's what you did it. And you did it craftily while adding so much backstory and context to those little brushed over events. Because outside of like Earth 2, when did they really like dove into like the pre-train wreck Alan and into the like they do little stuff here and there, but like that was so well done. Like you did exactly what you need to do. There's, when you finish this book, nothing has changed with Alan Scott's origin, history, none of that. It's still the exact same. I'm like,
and a lot of people who I've seen in groups online, you know, in comic book groups like on Facebook, they're like, oh, he's so noble. Like, why would he do this? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, he went through this whole thing where he convinced himself, I'm going to be straight. I'm going to go have a normal family. And I'm like, and that's where we get this, you know? And
this is the only character it makes sense without even explaining it. A Golden Age character would have to hide it.
Yeah.
This Golden Age character happens to have one of DC's first gay characters as a child. Like, it just, if you're going to do it, which representation does matter, just not at the cost of it. Like, you know, like it has to be there, but you don't sacrifice something for it, because then you didn't do it. You didn't represent anything. You just threw something away. But this is a time when it absolutely works.
And the fact that he has such a poor relationship with Obsidian, right? And now we see that because he repressed so much of himself, having it confronted in his child's confidence in their being gay was messing with Alan's head, you know?
And what was that one shot that they did?
I've seen this happen in real life, you know? And so, like, I don't know what Tim's experiences has been as a, you know, in real life, but I feel like he's taking some very personal stories and applying it to the reality of Alan Scott.
Yeah, he's crushed this one. He's done really well with it. I'm excited to see where it's going to go from here, because as somebody who appreciates him addressing it, because it has to be addressed. You know, Alan Scott has been represented as a gay character since the New 52. It's been a long time. So now that we're out of the New 52, the return of the JSA, this is just the first time that they've had to address it with the main continuity Alan Scott. Well, now you did it. Now you done it. You did it craftily. I'm wondering how much is he going to continue this balancing act, or are you going to start leaning into this fantastic mystery that's wrapped up in here? Because this whole Red Lantern thing that's being tied into the origin of this character before he was even the Green Lantern has got me hooked. And I like that he has his little sidekick that Paul will say his name in a very unique way.
Doiby Diggles.
Doiby. I like that he's got him rocking with him, trying to uncover this. And I like how uncomfortable he is trying to solve this because of how close to home it's hitting and everything, like with his old job, with his old friend, with his old romance. Like, it's just it's a great mystery story as well. And we got that shot of Red Lantern at the end.
It's hitting on, and he's like, what is this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very, very well done.
Take note, Marvel writers. This is how you have a villain go and attack someone personally.
Yeah, so So Jeff Johns is a master storyteller, and Jeff Johns is a massive DC fan, and he's a massive DC Comics history fan. He loves the JSA. So one thing that he's done here in recent years is with the returning of the JSA to continuity via Dr. Manhattan shenanigans. They're back after Dr. Manhattan messed with the universe, caused the New 52, and we returned to normal. The JSA came back in Doomsday Clock, and one thing it looks like is missing from their history are sidekicks, children, villains, people that were forgotten completely to history. They never existed in real life, but in continuity, they're introducing all these new Golden Age characters that never existed before and giving a reason to why no one remembered them, this, that, and the third kind of thing. Red Lantern was one of them, and they're actually introducing him via the 1940s. This story takes place in the Golden Age, and this is the first time that we're getting any story with him, which does make you wonder, how are they going to make us forget him?
Yeah, only Jeff Johns could rewrite the entire Golden Age of the DC universe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, we're past the we forgot him, and we're in the everybody's remembering phase, right?
No, because this is taking place in the 1940s. We haven't seen Red Lantern in modern time at all. We don't know if he's
next issue of Justice Society, we get the modern Red Lantern.
I did not know that. Thanks for ruining it.
It's on the cover of the issue. Like, I'm not ruining much. You're gonna see the preview.
Well, I would have ended up ruining it, I guess, when I did the little look to see what's the pool.
Right, when you look to see what's out this week, you'll be like, oh, there they are.
So yeah, so there it is.
But it's interesting. Like, I mean, they didn't cover what happened to make people forget, right? Like, we don't really know what caused that.
No, so all we know is with the kids and sidekicks, we know that they were scooped up by the Childminder. We know that Childminder and Android Hourman were working that plot for somebody that hasn't been named yet. We also know that Dr. Manhattan took the JSA out by moving Alan Scott's Lantern back in the day, and they never formed. So we don't know what he's going to do with these villains like the Red Lantern. We don't know at all what they're going to do. Maybe he was just foiled in this story and never comes back till later, or what. We don't know why there's going to be a gap in his existence yet.
Unless of course we find out what is the other force that caused this ripple effect. Because again, DC is famous for loving a ripple effect when it involves time manipulation.
Dude, who doesn't love a ripple effect when it causes time manipulation?
I love it in a contained story. I hate it when it's like, great, for the next 5 years, we're going to be writing about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. Thank you for the reminder. This is, in fact, a spoiler show. Thank you, Jeff. Triumph is another DC character that was forgotten, like Sentry at Marvel.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, but I mean, we've talked. I mean, we have, Jay Garrick has a daughter that he forgot about. Dr. Fate had a sidekick. I mean, there's lots of characters that Jeff Johns. It's funny because Jeff Johns created all these characters, and then he's like, "I'm out of here.
I'm out of here." Oh yeah, I'm bringing all y'all with me.
And I'm still gonna get a check for all the stuff I created. See ya.
Yeah, big shout out to Jeff. He announced this week. During NYCC, they did the Ghost Machine announcement. They did the table. They had all the creators, and they said that there's more of us. We can't say them yet. Contracts have to be fulfilled before that they can make the announcement and the move. We saw the first one this week. Ivan Reese.
I'm so excited. I'm like, Yvonne,
yeah, so excited. Yeah, like I was talking to Paul, like. That's one of those artists that I kind of just follow around because he kind of created the modern look of Superman in my mind. He had that Bendis run, and he just, and like Paul pointed out, he had that epic run on Green Lantern and stuff. He's just
truly epic run on Green Lantern.
Yeah, such a solid, consistent, just great artist. It's insane.
I have the DC tribute book to him in hardcover downstairs, and I'm like, that's how much I've loved him, Joe Prado, Rod Hayes I really like as well, even though no relation, by the way. It's just a very common last name in Brazil. But I love those guys so much, and Joe, who's like he's like every other Brazilian artist manager down in Brazil. It's fantastic. So like it's really exciting, and lots of posts I've seen between all of them on Facebook celebrating Ivan's move over to Ghost Machine.
That's a good point, Pops. They'll just do some kind of quick little something happens, and all those kids affected that came back are still affected, and they go away again, forgotten, gone. No more royalties.
Well, like there's a grace period where they don't have to pay you anything, right? And if they pump out a bunch of story and a bunch of products during that period, you don't see anything, right? But then, should they revisit that in the future, that's when you see some money, which is very surprising to me. For instance, like the characters from DC Metal, like they got toys well outside of the zone, right? Which means that the people who designed these characters actually got a little paycheck, a tiny little paycheck.
No DVH. This is something that me and Finn and Monkey and my buddy Lee went antiquing yesterday.
Antiquing, the verb. Oh my goodness!
And came across this nice throwback here.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and I'm like, yo, it's $18 at this thrift store and 20% off. It's not staying there. Ooh. Y'all remember these old action figure cases? I had a TMNT one when I was a kid, and now I have
the Hall of Justice.
This is where you store your toys. He says the same art from the 80s sticker album. It's super
You know
dope.
what? He wouldn't be wrong. I think DBH is right.
But yeah, Jumbo Collector's Case. They are starting a new Century series with a new person at Century. Never knew who Century was. Yeah, Cliff is picking it up.
So I can explain to everybody. That's how it's going to work. I'll read it so you don't have to. And then I can tell you it's hot garbage or you better get the next issue quick.
I haven't read it yet, but I can tell you it's hot garbage. All right, moving on to the next.
I mean, it looks like hot garbage, but it could be good hot garbage.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Detective Comics is doing the Batman Wanted storyline, I believe it is. It's like coming out every 2 weeks. It's fantastic. Ron V's writing it. We know that Catwoman has been putting together a ragtag group of individuals to try to save him in the last minute as he's going to the gallows. We have Arzam Orgum, who's getting ready to execute the Batman, the symbol, the identity, not Bruce Wayne, but the idea of Batman to kill it in front of the city to let them know that this vigilante justice is this character is no longer welcome. Ultimately, and might be getting forgotten in the weeds, they have like the change engine, if you will, that they have planted under Gotham, ready to reset the heart, the soul of the city. They got tainted all those hundreds of years ago when they first tried this, when a vigilante stopped them, seeding the repetitive process of villains coming to the city and that one soldier thwarting them. That hasn't been able to be broken ever since that first happened, and they have to kill the Batman in order to reset the city to put them back in control. And Catwoman makes her play. Some awesome fights ensue, and then the big little twist drops. Like watching the plan happen, watching this person there, that person there, and then they finally say, "Okay, send him." And you see a van come in and turn on purpose and slide and like come to a crashing halt in front of all of the Orgum's guards, and it's on fire, and they're like looking around. Then the sword comes out of the side of it and peels it open like a can opener, and Azrael steps out in the Nightfall suit and goes ham. It was amazing. Loved it. Loved it. Batman still hasn't had, and at the end, he still hasn't been freed. They dropped him. So we ended it with them dropping him. What a fantastic Batman story. Detective Comics continues to be the staple of Batman comics for me. Consistent, good, enjoyable. It has its highs and its lows never dip into bad ever. This is just the Batman. This is Batman's War World. What PKJ did for action, Rom's doing it for detective. Don't miss it. That's cute. Did you do one for Becker when you were doing it? The man's ready to get his pasta in. One ain't gonna cut it. The man's ready to get his pasta in his drawings. I'm sending Becker that one.
No, that's Finn's.
I'm sending it to Becker. Kyle's drawing Becker some lunch napkins that she does for Finn because Becker knows how to to goat people into doing stuff. Oh my God, the comments. Batman is my favorite Marvel character. Cliff is the royal food tester for the new Marvel series.
Yes, I will be. Thank you. Thank you. If it's poison, it's not going to go well.
No. Anybody else digging Detective Comics?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for all the reasons that you, I mean, I think I've said before that, I mean, every writer is different, and they have a different style, but I think I've said it here before that I feel like, Ram V is writing Shakespeare and everybody else is writing Dr. Seuss,
That's
'cause
accurate.
he just writes at such a different level, and I mean, Tom King is great. I love Tom King as well. It's just a whole different writing process and everything, and he really is capturing. I mean, Ram V has set this whole thing up like an opera, and it really is kind of, dramatic and very operatic and everything, and it comes across that way. And he's just. I'm so glad that now he's exclusive to Detective Comics until Jeff Johns picks him up.
Cliff, you don't read Detective, huh?
No, because I'll be honest with you, I don't enjoy Batman anywhere near as much as I enjoy listening to you two cover Batman.
That's super fair.
It's 1,000 times better. You guys you're like, and then the blazing sword peels it up like a can opener, and I'm like, yes, and then I'll pick up the book and I'll be like, wow, I want to see this through Mark's eyes, and then like toss to the side and keep moving. And then, but
no, it happens just like I say it.
Yeah, see, it's way more exciting coming out of your mouth than it
and
is.
then boom, this dude emerges like a demon in the night. Like,
yes. There is a reason why when we do our deep dives, Mark does 90% of the talking about exactly what happens in the issue.
No, like the last deep dives, you did the gang war deep dive, right? And the whole time I'm listening, I'm like, wow. I was like, I thought it was absolute garbage. I'm like, these guys make it sound majestic. Like this.
Which one was it?
Just all of Gang War, and like you're making it sound amazing.
Oh, you must be thinking of Night Terrors or Dark Crisis.
No, Night Terrors was a very good.
The Gotham War, right?
Gotham War. That's it. Not Gotham War. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. No, Gotham War was where it was like I was like, oh, you poor people.
Yeah, dude. I think like when I'm describing these, my excitement as I'm reading them definitely comes back out when I'm describing them.
No, he does, and like you sell it, man. But like, yeah, I don't. I've never recovered from Batman Joker fatigue from like 2008. I've never come back.
That's fair. Definitely fair. One way you can come back from it, and that's by reading Green Arrow by Joshua Williamson. Issue 6 is dropped. Huh?
I do read Green Arrow by Joshua Williamson.
Well, that's what we're about to talk right now. This is actually the final issue to the first story arc. These originally were scheduled to be a 6-issue miniseries. This one actually had high enough pre-sales that they announced the extension to this series the day that issue 1 hit shelves, which was really exciting for readers. Green Arrow is definitely like had that response like Superman's had. Go figure. Put some of your characters back on shelves. People miss them. They're ready to read them. And as long as you deliver a good story, they'll stick with you and you can keep them going. I'm very excited to say this first story arc was pretty solid, although it did really just feel like an introduction to an ongoing. It was like getting back into the swing of things, into the groove of things. And I was definitely happy with it, happy with the creators on board with it, and it had a great little twist to this issue.
It ended with a bang, literally. Everyone's favorite... everyone's favorite bad guy who's going to be, the spine of the DC universe for the next 6 or 7 months.
Oh, I wasn't even going into the after credit shot. That was savage. I read that and I immediately thought, yo, Cliff, where you at? Because like the conversation earlier in the week about this is what they're doing with Waller about Beast War.
I got to tell you, it didn't make anything better, Mark, because I had already read it by the time we had our discussion. And so it brought me to this level with Waller. Then I read Beast World, where her name is thrown around, and it brought me down. And I'm like, I was so.
Her name is said one time in Beast
It was
World.
enough. It was by a character that she introduced in another story. Like, I'm just sorry. Like, I want it to be smooth and then one of the Beast World books coming out soon is Rise of Waller or some crap. And I'm like, just like, no, keep her out of this because it's like what's happening is like too whimsical for me for Amanda Waller's deep, but I don't want these things connecting. I just keep them apart.
Waller. Well, in fairness, Waller's connected to everything right now.
Right.
Everything, literally everything. There's not anything going on in DC that she's not in absolute control of right now. Nothing. And I think with the whole Beast World thing, she saw an end. She saw a freebie, and what she's doing, we know firsthand, is her goal is to assassinate the entirety of the superheroes, the JLA, the Teen Titans, all of them. That's what she's trying to do. Well,
Listen,
she
I'm
fought 2 of them in this book.
The execution has got me all over the place. I mean, my gosh, she all but kills one of my favorite characters right there.
Who?
Arsenal, Speedy.
Oh, she killed him. He looked deader than shit.
Yeah.
Nah, he's not dead. I refuse to believe it.
That's pretty much what she said she wanted to do to the DC heroes.
Yeah, we know from the DC primer that her goal is to execute. She's there to kill. If Arsenal's laying on the ground bleeding to death in front of her, we can only assume, based off what we've been told, that she's going to put more bullets in him till he is dead, because that's her one objective. But it was cool getting to see Merlin. Merlin was behind the whole Green Arrow hopping.
Who am I supposed to have faith in on this story?
I don't know, but Merlin was behind the whole time hopping Green Arrow thing. It was all just a plot device to torture him and keep him away from his family, to take him out. He's been upgraded via Amanda Waller tech to go take out Green Arrow. That didn't play out, but in the process of the Arrow family looking for Ollie, Arsenal, as well as who else was it that was with him? Jade, Lady Jade.
Yeah.
They went down to a known black site for Amanda Waller that they're familiar with, and they go in. And they just get blindsided by Peacemaker. Who's the other one?
And Lady Peacemaker, or whatever the hell she's supposed to be.
She's from Earth 3, I think. What's her name, though? Something Wrecker?
Peace Wrecker. There's
Peacemaker
and then Peace Wrecker.
Peace Wrecker, because she's from Earth 3, bro. Like, they're going to bring all that back. I'm telling you, that's Earth 3 Peacemaker. But, yeah, Peacemaker, Peace Wrecker, and Amanda Waller just literally gunned them down right where they are. Bang, 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 bang. Dead on the floor. And if they do, in fact, kill Arsenal, what a savage move, having only gotten him back through a very rough process in the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
Having that emotional moment with Leanne and everything earlier in this series, like, yo, if they actually killed Roy.
I have wildly different feelings, Mark. First of all, under the reign of Didio, that all the Titans characters were always treated badly. The stories always twisted and milked and churned and whatever. And so, like, I was really hoping for, like, I'm not saying give them a perfect life, but I was hoping for, like, a little bit of peace for these characters. But, like, no. And also, they're very disposable, right? You know? Like, so, like, I care because I care about these Titans characters, but, like, the majority of people, not so much. Of course, now they're trying to shove the big Titans down our throats nonstop and, like, make us care, and there is no Justice League. There's the Titans, and I'm like,
that whole there is no Justice League thing is kind of a misnomer, though, because, like, the Justice League just said, like, yo, we are so busy, it's going to be hard for us to get together for our weekly meetings, our weekly recaps, this and that. Y'all got this, so I can go deal with the Blue Earth terrorists in Metropolis. He can go deal with Catwoman burning shit down right now.
Right.
Hal can figure out why he can't go over 28,000 feet. Like, we're just like, and then who was completely present for the entire invasion of the Necro Star? The entire Justice League. Like,
no, because when there's a crisis, everybody gets together. That's the thing. But listen, the whole Necro Star thing actually kind of good. I really didn't hate the issue. I just, you know.
Yeah, very true, Pops. Now, the reason why I'm so quick to defend the concept is because when you get meta with it, like, you step back out of the pages, comics aren't selling like they used to. So you have to, in order to push somebody, you have to pull somebody back. In order for, like, if you want to give John Kent a chance to shine, you're not going to do it if everyone's still looking at Clark first. So I thought that was smart that they pulled one of the multiple Superman titles back to let John highlight, to try to win over some new fans. I think they did. I'm a John Kent fan. I have regular John Kent fans comment on my videos all the time. Loader's Empire is normally in here as a huge John Kent fan. And a lot of that came from that. I think they're trying to do the same thing with the Titans, because if the Justice League title is coming out every week and they're the ones that you expect to deal with it, where are you going to give the Titans their chance to win over audiences, new audiences? You have to think of that new generation and base off like what you got to work with.
I want the Titans book to be absolute fire, which it absolutely isn't. I've abandoned the Titans book. You know?
What?
Oh yeah, 3 issues, and one thing interested me in 3 issues. I'm out. You know.
I'm in for the Nicola Scott artwork alone at this point. Like that.
No, you know what? I love Nicola Scott artwork, but you know what? I will pick it up in the discount bins, because you at this point, even with the discount that I get, you better be delivering something I absolutely love, or I'm just completely addicted to you like Superman. So Superman, I'm just gonna be there. But that's it. Superman's the only one who gets a pass. Everyone else, I need to be entertained, or you're not getting the pass.
I think it has that Tom Taylor effect that doesn't work as well for this, because there really hasn't been a lot that's happened in it. And it's really, I think Tom Taylor, all right, Tom King has such different writing styles all the time, how it almost looks like it's from a different writer even. With Tom Taylor, he's either doing these epic deceased Dark Knights of Steel events that are giving you holy crap moments in every issue. It's dynamic.
It's year one.
Yes, it's page turners. Or he's giving you these ongoing titles that are just a day in the life of slice of kind of books.
You know what? I was fine with that with Nightwing. I am
burned
not
out.
fine with that with
I
Titans.
dropped Nightwing. I was like, dude,
I dropped Nightwing too. My precious.
I'm like, I don't care about the daily comings and goings of Bloodhaven. I just don't care. This book doesn't feel important to the greater DCU of what's going on. I'm sure like there's pieces to it, that this and that, but I completely agree. The Teen Titans Earth 1 2-issue hardback series was top tier. That was Jeff Lemire, if I'm not mistaken.
It was.
And it was phenomenal. It was good. Phenomenal. Yeah, all of the Earth 1 stuff is phenomenal. Yeah.
Jeff Lemire has
and the first issue was, the first hardback was drawn by Terry Dodson too, which is just incredible too. So
yeah, that Earth 1 stuff, man, they should have just took off from those points. Like that was the new 52 we desered.
They had as Ultimates. I felt like it was the Ultimates.
Yeah, that's a great comparison. Yeah,
and they had a whole thing. Francis Manipool was going to do an Aquaman Earth 1, and it ended up just falling by the wayside.
I have no idea.
It took some of those forever to come out. I remember they finally dropped. What was the most recent one? Jeff Johns' Batman Volume 3 was the most recent one they did. Like
probably Green Lantern was probably the one before that.
Yeah, dude, that Green Lantern Volume 2 was amazing as well. Like what, dude? Like him, like flying around in like his just regular like spacesuit and stuff. Like, dude, this is amazing. That was good stuff.
They did some fun stuff. I wish they were focused.
You know what needs to focus as well? That's this pesky book called The Flash that Cy Spurrier is doing.
Also abandoned it, and I love Cy normally, but I can't.
This one, I feel like he's slowly tightening it up, but it's still out there. Now this one, like as I'm reading, I'm like, okay, I need to stop and I need to read this as slow as possible, because he's trying to outsmart himself with some of the technical jargon, some of the theoretical woo-woo that goes into this. And I read this in Finn's car line, which I sit in for a literal hour. 50 minutes. Like that's how long it takes from when I get there to them letting out. I took 2 books with me. I only had time to read this one because that's how I paced myself through it. And that's how long it took. It was like a 30-minute read. I'm like, that's excessive to just try to get a full grasp, like how wordy it is, how much is going on. There's some fun stuff in it, them kind of trying to understand the concept of what's going on. The coolest part was Max Mercury was brought in because they're like, we can't science our way out of this. Michael Holt is here. Mr. Terrific is in fact terrific anytime he shows up in a book. Such a great character. but they're like, we need to zen this. So Max Mercury shows up, which was a breath of fresh air in these 3 issues. Max just kind of like trying to woo-saw his way through the problem that tend to work, but then they started bouncing through these layers of existence, these planes of existence that Wally can access that he didn't realize these other people were not aware of, which was actually really cool, which was really good. I appreciated that a lot. And we got an idea of where this story was kind of going to go with how much they affect the world around them without even knowing it. We got that glimpse of them in that plane of existence, and they look in the distance and something is coming and it's exploding and killing everything around it. And they escape out of there just to see Bart show up. And they're seeing the effect that they have on things that they can't typically see when they run and when they just their existence of the things that they harm outside of it. I thought that was a great concept. It was pretty cool. The Folding Man, the next villain that we see that's leveled up. Okay, cool. We got past that pretty quick, but it was all right.
Yeah, I kind of felt like the whole Folding Man thing was kind of like, it was kind of like a Grant Morrison thing from the Doom Patrol type of a thing.
Mr. Nobody.
Yeah, it was, the whole thing was like, I agree. I mean, it's like, if you enjoyed Jeremy Adams and the stuff that he did,
don't buy
be
this.
Be prepared to like be slapped in the face, because this is nothing like this at all, like that at all.
No, this is rough. Hopefully Sai's on it very, very short run. Like we called this going into this, like this doesn't seem like the character for Sai. It's not his style. It's not his tone. Give him a Suicide Squad book and let him just put it in high gear and pedal to the metal. That he's the guy for that. We saw what he did.
The thing is like I would look at him and I would think high gear, pedal to the metal, speedster, do it. And it's like, not really.
No, I mean like you need something like more grounded, because when you're dealing with something like the Flash that requires like all these theoretical quantum concepts of time travel, space travel, speed force, all this and that, like Sai.
Let's be honest, when you're dealing with the Flash, you don't have to. You can tell great stories outside of that.
You need somebody who can do less is more with Flash, because he's already more. So much comes with that character packed in there that like someone like Sai, he's just overthinking it. He's overthinking and having to address every little detail that shouldn't even be talked about. Just run past it.
Yeah. I mean, look, a lot less is more has worked beautifully with Superman lately with various writers. It's just worked.
Well, guys, we're hitting the 2-hour mark of the show, Cliff. So we're going to have to wrap it up. Do y'all want to hit on any? There's numerous other books that came out, but I'll be honest with you guys. We got to run this giveaway still.
Yeah, you should do that, definitely.
Penguin was amazing. Consistently good. Issue 4 of Kong, the Great War came out. Terrifying, hauntingly good. This is just stalked by death is imminent. That's the whole like theme of this. It's a World War II era book where a U-boat crashes on Skull Island and they're trying to survive the night kind of thing. And one terror to the next is just looming and stalking. Kong catches up to him for the first time in this, and he is brutal. He is gruesome. People get ate. It's savage. You're on it's kind of one of those edge of your seat survival books. Action Comics Men of Steel was dope. Consistently good, like Philip Kennedy Johnson is crushing it. Superman and Steel fighting the super people of the Blue Earth terrorist organization. Superman suited up was awesome to see him battling without all the powers and stuff, and trying to not lose the positive eye of the public in this, because this Blue Earth people are definitely onto something more, and we get the reveal that the woman who's leading it is a lot more than she lets on. She's able to visit a specific character in almost the astral plane and kind of play a hand, and it looks like she's trying to recruit a little bit in this one. So we'll see what happens with that.
And PKJ's penultimate issue on Action Comics too. So
that was,
yeah, he's only got one more to go.
Shit, it's coming quick.
Although he has promised that he will be writing Superman again somewhere else. Just
watch it be a black label.
Yeah. And the next issue is supposed to have maybe not the main story, but it's supposed to have a tie-in to Beast World too. So
I really hope that they keep Steve Beach on the covers. A lot of times they change writing eras with the artist eras to kind of signify it, but Steve Beach is a cover artist. I'll be watching close to see where he lands after his tenure on Action Comics.
He's got a Green Lantern cover coming up.
Last one he did was didn't he have one for Night Terror? No. Who was God? Who was it that did that? Hal Jordan with his hands out screaming.
Wasn't
Was
that
that Del
Ricardo
Otto?
Federici?
Federici or Del Otto? Somebody, but man,
Yeah.
there were some. Those two covers were amazing on Green Lantern during that. Cliff, you got any other ones you want to hit on real quick before we spin this wheel and see who the Legion Loot November winner is?
Spin the wheel, baby. Spin the wheel.
Let me get the wheel up. So this is the wheel of the people entered for the November Legion Loot. I do want to remind everybody, I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Also, thank you again for the voting for the CBC Awards. If y'all missed that, go back to Brian's channel, check it out. It was a really fun show. I caught a good half of it, and there were some fun skits.
You caught the right half of it, baby.
Video entries and stuff like that.
We have winners.
Yeah. And also, it's December 3rd. That means it is officially underway. The crossover event of the year is here. Me and DJ Lynx have come together like butt cheeks once again. This time we're bringing you the first appearance of Wolverine in the Incredible Hulk issue 180. Current fair market value at the time of making that image on the screen was over $1,000. And this is what's going to be the Legion Loot prize for December and January. It's going to be a 2-month prize due to the dollar amount. We're having to merge our channels, merge those months to bring you a banger of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I haven't seen another channel on YouTube do that yet. I'm waiting
the true first appearance of Wolverine.
Yeah, I didn't say the cameo or full. I said first.
Mm-hmm.
So, be sure to check that out. If you're already a Legion tier member, you're entered. You get 2 entries into that. But if you go over to the homie DJ Link's channel and join the Link Squad as well, that'll give you 10 entries into that. You do have to be a member for both December and January. We'll draw for the winner of that on In the Mix on February 2nd. The last crossover we drew for the winner over here during Out Weeks In. So this time we're going to do it on In the Mix. So thank you to each and every one of y'all. If you're a Legion supporter, thank you so much. I appreciate each and every one of y'all. If you want to become a member, hit that join button down below. The supporter tier gets you all kinds of cool little stuff, but the Legion tier gets you the extra stuff as well as the entries into the festivities. So let's spin this bad boy. Enough talking by me. The winner of the November Legion Loot is going to, I didn't even show it off. Y'all seen it already. It's late. Mad Spidey! Huge shout out
going down under.
He is a huge DC fan, so he's going to be ecstatic that he won.
Hey, you got some Marvel books in there for him.
Yeah, I do. Like, I forgot to show everything off, but yeah, there's a lot of Superman Return stuff, but there's like first appearance of Monica Rambeau in there, second appearance, some exclusives and stuff. But the good thing about Mad Spidey is he can take those and hopefully turn them into stuff that he wants to keep. So, boom.
Well, it's Australia, so I think he can.
Yeah, comics are scarce down there. So that's a good thing about these. These will be worth so much more when they get down under.
By the way, I want the whole package just for Monica and the 9.8 Adventures of Superman.
Yeah, that was the first appearance of Steel and John Kent. Not too bad. Yeah. So I appreciate everybody coming to hang out. Tomorrow is going to be a really fun video. If you're a channel member, you already have access to it. Looking at what a Stan Lee signature is worth, trying to find some data and figure out if there's any consistency to these signatures that are on these comic books, because they seem to be all over the place. But we're going to get to the bottom of it. We got to the bottom of it. Check out that video tomorrow. Cliff, what do you got going on tomorrow? It's Monday. Don't y'all do Monday?
Tomorrow's Monday, so it's 8 p.m. at the Council of Comics. We're doing keys and hot comics of the week and entering people into our duck race, and it's December, so it's Christmas, so our giveaway is going to be extra stacked this month.
Put some mistletoes in it.
Maybe some 9.8s in it.
Oh, nice.
All right, there's a 9.8 in it, but we'll see.
You said some.
Mark, there may be some for those of you competing on Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. over on Cliff on Comics and the Council of Comics. So let's see what people win for their channel come January.
So can you explain what you're talking about?
So basically I've created Comic Book Jeopardy. And I lured people in to join me. And now that they're lured in, now they're fighting Now they're trying to earn points, and Mark is well in the lead, by the way. Now they're earning points for their channel, and the winner.
It's for trivia, by the way. He said comic book trivia, so I'm like, I'll show up.
So, so at the end of the month, whoever wins, whether it be Mark or someone else, Mark's doing very well. Esteban's coming back with a vengeance. I can't wait. Let's see. But yeah, you could win something really cool for your channel members, and that'll be lovely.
That's 8 p.m. tomorrow, Tuesday. Cliff on Comicx. It's his own solo channel where he does the get together channel with the council. He does have his own content that he does as well. So, Cliff's Comic Book Jeopardy. I think he's going to have to work on the title. I believe Jeopardy might be trademarked.
It will be revealed Tuesday nights.
So will the categories, because you're not allowed to know this ahead of time. Paul, what's going on tomorrow? It is Monday, and officially, I think Paul kicks off the Monday lineup. He's muted, but I'm good at reading lips. I think he said tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., Mark and I will be doing a DC Deep Dive is back after a 2-week hiatus for the Thanksgiving holiday. We are back, and we're doing Titans Beast World. So we'll be doing that throughout December and January. And then Wednesday night, we are back with Guess That Key with Chris the Comic Vet, and Beckerman will be with us. So, and then again, on December 20th, it is the second annual Guess That Key Christmas special. We are planning to do multiple giveaways during the show, and we also are looking to have, we believe it will be in what we call an OG show, where we'll have Jake and Jesus, and possibly even Kevin will be with us as well. So join us for fun, frivolity, and just to have a good time, and maybe win something.
I'm excited for it. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out tonight. It was a fun talk. Really enjoyed talking. Was waiting a long time to have this conversation tonight. So thank you all. And until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.